The row groom appreciates your recommendation.
Stop, cunts!
Sup, cunts?
PlayStation. 5.
And we do so happen to be live. Welcome back to the Rogue Room, guys, gals, and NB pals. My name is the Abigail Beck. The is my actual legal first name. It is the Abigail Beck. That's my legal name. So you need to address me as the Abigail. Okay, that's the way I prefer to be addressed. Thank you kindly. I've got a new dono goal. I know I shouldn't. Yeah, the Beck. There we go. Like the musician. I am the Beck. Hello Mythic, how's it going? Welcome in, folks. We've got a thing up here. I put a goal up. I don't know if we're going to reach it by the time... Sorry, my cat's being a cunt. By the time I actually want to go to Melbourne, which is sometime in the next month. But still, you know, I'm going to put a goal up anyway, because fuck it, why not? We're going to try to reach that, because, I don't know, instead of subbing, give me money so I can go to another state. How you folks going? Hello, Richard, how's it going? So yeah, what's on the agenda? What is on the agenda? Thank you for the question, Reaper. We've got a few here. We've got a story about Jackie Lambie. We've got QAnon in Dallas, Texas. Rental stress on the rise as low-income Australians priced out of the market. Trump has an honorary Taekwondo black belt, whatever the fuck that means. Trump, the king of the... oh my god, get over your participation trophies crowd, now has a participation trophy. So do with that what you will. Autism, we got some autism chat. We're going to talk about China. And some neo-Nazis. We'll probably cover some... well, I mean, this is a whole bunch of shit. This is just, there's so much. We might not even get through all of it. I only stream for like 3 hours, so... slow and steady wins the race with me trying to put the straw... Am I safe? I think I'm safe. Okay, we're good. I have not managed to have drink pouring out of the straw. I have strategically inserted the straw and have not made a mess. God, I wish that were me. Oh my. Flex radio. Oos, there we go. There's that for you. What's in the drink? It's just a can of Monster. It's just a can of Monster. Oh, we already got hugs. Okay, I gotta be very careful with this because it's a very short skirt. Babe, sorry to interrupt your Ratchet and Clank. Pardon? Okay. It's a very short skirt. Okay. I don't... oh, it's in the drawer. Shit. Yeah. Reaper. There you go. What do we think about the pale lip, by the way? How do we feel about the pale lip color? And is the music too loud? Can you hear the music? I think you can hear the music. Anyway. We're just waiting for hugs. This is crucial. We're crucially waiting for hugs. Yeah, TOS. Like, quite literally, if I stand up, I may well TOS myself at this point. Just gonna say it right now. This outfit is not safe. I mean... I could say it's not safe for work, technically speaking. I mean, it is from here down until, like, my waist. Should I get an under-the-desk camera, folks? Is that... do you think that's applicable? Different streaming platforms? Stream on multiple platforms at once? Have an under-the-desk camera? It's different content. Different content? There's at least one streamer I know of who gets away with that on TikTok. They stream on Twitch, but they have a different camera angled at themselves. Smudge, get out! He's being such a cunt.
Say that link.
I don't know. Did you see him leaping just then? He's been such a little cunt lately. Oh my god, no.
You.
He just ran back in. Okay, we just want to hug. Okay. Here we go. I don't want to... Well, I'm not spiking you, but... oh, no, I have got spikes. We got spikies. There we go. There's hugs. Smudge, fuck off. Get out. Don't be a cunt. Okay. Love you. Oh, wait, no, we're not being mean to Smudge. He's being an asshole to us. We haven't done anything to him. He's just been really aggressive lately for some reason.
When you stand around, he randomly just runs at your toes and tries to bite them and scratch something.
Exactly. Lewd hand-holding, TOS.
He's fucking stalking me right now. My toes.
Can I show you this without...
Oh, babe, don't do it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't.
Look at him.
I wouldn't do it.
That's there we go.
Okay.
He's in stalker mode. He's got his tail going. And all we're doing all the time is just like walking around. Sounds like Smudge just wants to play. Well, he needs to behave himself if he wants to play.
Exactly.
He needs to stop going at us all the fucking time. Notice his two cute goth girls.
I'm not a goth girl.
Maddie's alt at best. Oh, we got a tip. Lupa, thank you so kindly for the tip. If you send us a tip for Melbourne, it's not... Sadly, it's not going to notice. I could probably put it in... Actually, that's a thing I was curious about because I haven't done this yet. Coffee has a little widget that you can attach to chat, so it will... Here we go, Twitch chat alerts. No, that's not what... That's stream alerts. There's like literally a little thing you can set up for Coffee that will put an alert in chat saying such and such has tipped this much. But the only way... Sadly, Streamlabs. So the only way this number is actually going to go up is if it's a Streamlabs tip. So it has to be through the Streamlabs link, which is fucking stupid. But thank you so kindly, Lupa, for tipping a little bit towards Melbourne. We'll just say we're, 2.5% of the way there. Yeah, it'd be nice if I could get a bar like this that shows, like, specifically my PayPal balance or something. Or maybe, like, Coffee actually has a goal function. It'd be great to set a goal on Coffee and then show that goal on screen, which you probably could do, reasonably speaking, but, So what's with the trip to Melbourne? I've got friends there. I've got a bunch of friends there I want to meet. So, yeah. Friends I want to meet, friends I want to have coffee with, friends I want to fuck in the ass, so on and so forth. You get the gist. So, says the woman with no sex drive. Oh, you're waking up. Waking up. Time to wake up. You came in at the right moment. Hello, Gwendolyn. How are you? Might see if you can learn to code one. It might be that'd be a good idea. That'd be a good idea. Yes. You keep him away from me.
He refuses.
Smudge, for fuck's sake! Oh my god!
He's refusing to go into the kitchen because he probably knows.
He knows he's being locked in the kitchen now. Like, realistically speaking. Yeah, the kitty's being rude, and he knows now. He's being very cautious of the kitchen. He doesn't want to go in the kitchen because he knows that's his little prison cell when he's been naughty. We can lock him in there. It's got his food. The bathroom's right there adjacent so he can go in and take a shit if he needs to. But he's well aware of what's going on. Something's up with this cat. I swear to God. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's changed. He has changed. Okay. We can put that away now. Thank you. Hey, stealing my drink.
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh my God. How dare you. Getting a divorce over my can of Monster. Love you too. Smudge is basically Abby in cat form and she knows it. Hey, don't call me out like this.
I mean, you do bite.
I do bite. Yeah, true. This called out. Holy shit. Of course my girl is stealing my drink. If we go out for another bistro dinner, are you going to steal my chips?
Your what?
My chips.
No. They give you too much food.
True. Actually, we did go out for dinner recently. On my mum's dollar, which was great. And I was actually eating more of hers than she ate of mine. We got nachos and a schnitty. This was interesting. They had a schnitzel night, and I don't know, like maybe this is a common thing with leagues clubs now or whatever. But they were doing a schnitzel night where they had all these different toppers you could choose from. And they had the stereotypical, like, Parmigiana and, like, hot chili topper and other stereotypical ones. And the one she got was, like, carbonara. It was great. It was good. Like, they actually did, like a creamy mushroom carbonara on top of the schnitzel. On top of the chicken schnitzel. Which was interesting. Parma or Palmy? I go Palmy. This is like a regional dialect thing, I think, honestly. But yeah, chicken schnitzel, mate. The iconic Australian whatever. I don't know. So where are we? Not gonna lie, you have zero interest in sex as a pleasure pursuit. It's 100% the emotional intimacy I value. Let me see the thread here. Like, I kind of feel the same, honestly. Yeah, I feel like I have much more of a connection to emotional intimacy. And, like, physical intimacy, yes, as well. But, yeah. Like, it doesn't... the orgasm is secondary. You know? Lots of toppers, I thought... Right as we're talking about sex, too. God damn it. Sex doesn't exist. It's a myth. It was invented by China. Sex is a myth invented by China. I don't know what China has to do with anything. Aside from this headline, listen to this, right? China bars celebrities from showing off wealth and extravagant pleasure on social media, saying pop stars must comply with core socialist values. Well, whatever that means. You know. Fuck, she's seen me. Run away. It was invented by Kumas. Hey, Carolyn, thank you so much. I'm getting quite fond of this look, honestly. This whole I haven't slept in a week look, I'm pretty fond of it. And then you slap some fake lashes on, you do wings for the hell of it, and you're just like, yeah, I'm totally down to party. Where's the Coke? Oh, yeah. I don't need sleep. Sleep is for the weak. Give me another martini. Anyway. Here I am, like, someone who does not do anything. Any sort of, like, hard lifestyle shit. Just dolling myself up like I do. We can sleep when we're dead. Cry so easily now over hardly anything. Oh my god, isn't that the life, though? Seriously. All you need to do is get the wrong thought in your mind. Either that or, like, legitimately. Here's a thing. Here's a funny little thing, right? As someone who used to present as a cishet dude, you know, a man who fucked women, right? That kind of person. I used to have this entire thing of, like, I would either refuse to watch emotional movies, or when I would be forced to watch an emotional movie, I'd sit there and I'd just hold every fucking thing in. Just be like, yep, I realize there is a sappy segment. I'm not gonna react at all. It's not manly to do that. Nah. And nowadays, like, if there's any even slightly weepy shit, even if it's like purely a moment of just two friends having a situation where they're just like enjoying each other's company in a TV show, whatever, I'm just like, I start tearing up and I'm like, fuck off. What is this bullshit? I don't want to cry. Stop. But it's good though. Bottle it up. It's great for your stress levels. Don't you know that's how Vegeta became a Super Saiyan? He didn't express any emotion other than pure rage, and then all of a sudden, he was still not strong enough to beat Goku. Because he's a little bitch. Let's face it, Vegeta is a little manlet bitch. Sorry, that's toxic masculinity, probably something, I don't know. Anyway, neither here nor there. A Vegeta reference, like Vegeta is one of the only Dragon Ball Z characters that I can think of off the top of my head. Vegeta, Goku, Trunks, Bulma, Chi-Chi, Krillin, Android 17 and 18, and 16. Android 16 was the big bulky one, wasn't he? Cell, Dr. Gero, Frieza, Cooler, Broly. Fuck, watch Dragon Ball Z on Twitch. Could you? I wonder if you could. Everyone forgets. Oh, Yamcha. Yeah, Yamcha. Yes, I know Yamcha. It'd definitely be like DMCA, copyright, something or other. Cooler isn't even a canon character. And you're saying you don't think you could name more than Vegeta. I had to think. To be fair, I had to think. The original Broly wasn't canon. They've rebooted. Like, the problem that I have with anime in general, but mostly with Dragon Ball Z. Because, like, I want to watch, like, this is the problem. I feel like Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball in general, it's got, like, a bunch of cool concepts that, excuse me, if there was a consistent canon throughout the whole lot, I'd really enjoy it. But the moment that you do this thing where it's like, okay, here's the original series, here's the sequel series, here's an unofficial sequel, here's an unofficial official sequel series that doesn't feature the original creator. Oh, but by the way, in about 10 years, we're going to come back to the previous original series with the original creator. That sequel series that we had before is no longer considered canon. Oh, and by the way, we're also going to do a whole bunch of little spin-off movies in the meantime that are not canon at all, but just feature the same characters. I fucking hate it. I absolutely loathe it, right? And one of my favorite fictional series is Dark Souls. Try to piece that shit together. Try to give me consistent canon there, for fuck's sake. I can't stand it. How do I feel about JoJo? I haven't watched it. The most recent anime, and this is like tricky, like, do you define Castlevania as an anime? I suppose technically it was developed by a Japanese animation studio for Netflix. You know, I don't know what you technically define as anime in this day and age. Like, I thought anime was specifically like animations out of Japan. There's anime and Western anime. I still abide by this idea that Avatar shouldn't technically class as anime because it was an American production. The fuck is going on in that show? In which show? Which one are we talking about now? JoJo. We got JoJo, Dragon Ball, Dark Souls, Avatar, Castlevania are in the discussion right now. Yes, we do need to watch more Evangelion. We watched like the first episode of that. It was quite neat. We're gonna watch more of that at some point. I tried to watch. Here's the thing. I tried to watch that one on Netflix. What's it called? The Black Samurai. What's it called? Yasuke. I tried to watch that one. I couldn't get into it. I don't know what it was. It just wasn't particularly appealing. Like, I tried it for a bit. I got through the first episode. And then, it seemed like the reason I wanted to watch Yasuke is because it seemed similar in aesthetic style to Castlevania in a lot of ways. But then I got into, got through the first episode and I was like, I'm not really fussed with this. You know. Mua film from South Korea. Okay. I mentioned before that I liked Pokemon when I was a kid. I tried to rewatch it as an adult a little while back. I downloaded illegitimately the original series, planning to watch the original ones back. I got through 2 episodes and I was like, nah, fuck this. This is definitely a children's show for children. I don't want to watch Pokemon. Castlevania, I may be sapphic AF, but I'd let Alucard do anything he wanted to me. I feel like Alucard, is technically, refers to himself as the son of Dracula, but he might veer in that dimension of, like, non-binary, almost, I reckon Alucard's got a bit of he's got a bit of a fluid vibe. And definitely bisexual at the very least. We like Alucard. Alucard is kind of goals, honestly. Alucard's androgyny goals. Alucard with tits. Can we just have Alucard with tits? Like, quite frankly, though, virtually anybody, aside from a few side characters in the Castlevania show, are all goals in their own right. Like, if I was still a dude, holy shit, I would want to be Trevor. Toxic traits and all, Anyways, Carmilla. Oh god, Ziwa. Wait until you see season 3 and 4, though. There's more coming. There's more hot people to look forward to. It's such a good show for, like, horny vibes. Anyways. I was a chick in the 40s, my boss is a woman, I hate everyone equally, and there is no one alive who can comprehend my sexual preference. Alucard abridged. Can we have Alucard with tits? I think Rule 34 got you covered. Is there another rule? Isn't there another rule of the internet that's like, if there is a character, someone has gender swapped it? Isn't there another rule? What? Yeah, that there is a rule of that. Is that Rule 63? Yes. I guarantee you, there's Rule 63. Well, that's Rule 63 Alucard of a different sort. That's a different Alucard. There we go. I mean, you can't even really Rule 63 Alucard because he's already so feminine anyway. Just like, I mean, there does exist some artwork there. Just like, oh my god. But even then, you just look at any of the original artwork of Alucard from the games anyway, and you're just like, I'm pretty sure that's a chick, maybe. Like, you don't need to do much. Yeah. Why are we still on this subject is what I would like to know. We could move on to some serious stuff, but we could also just sit here continuing to talk about how hot all the characters from Castlevania are. Anyway, everyone makes those my sexuality is the Mummy, but now my gender is Castlevania. To be fair, though, I feel like the Mummy was definitely a sexuality awakening for a lot of people who saw that. Because, like, come on, it's the Mummy. Look, it's the same deal. It's the exact same deal as Castlevania. I mean, Prime Brendan Fraser, come on now. Rachel Weisz? Hydration? I'll take hydration. Watch the abridged series, you'll find the R63 stuff a lot more relevant. I may have to. Let's just keep naming our favorite androgynous characters. Okay, Gwendolyn from Dark Souls, first of all. Gwendolyn's an interesting one because instead of legs, they've got snakes. Alucard looks like the Witcher if he went on Spyro. Fuck. Well, technically I said Gwendolyn, not Gwendolyn. Dark Sun Gwendolyn, who is the... this is risky. I probably shouldn't bring up Google searches without double checking that they're all safe for work first. Gwendolyn, the Dark Sun, the child of Lord Gwyn, who was the son raised as a daughter, which is... I still don't know what that falls under. In terms of gender, how do we define that in terms of gender? I keep coming back to this and I can't find a conclusive answer that I'm satisfied with. I used to think, oh yeah, Gwendolyn's trans, but then I'm like, no, hang on, that's not how that works. Trans means like different to your gender assigned at birth, and it seems like Gwendolyn was raised as a girl despite being born with boy bits, and then developed snakes somehow. Religiously based third gender? I mean, yeah. This is the problem. Our stupid Western conventions of gender have fucked up any sort of perception of what else there could be. Gender non-conforming? You could argue that. Like, we don't know much about how the gender structures of the gods of Anor Londo really operated, technically speaking. How much do we know about that? What kind of information do we have with that regard aside from Gwendolyn? And then we've got the incredibly feminine Guinevere, but she's also, spoiler alert, an illusion cast by Gwendolyn, so it's very likely that he could have manipulated the image you see there, including the statues throughout the city. Name was legit inspired by both Dark Sun Gwendolyn and Gwendolyn from Odinsphere. Oh, there you go. The magic of an Abigail stream. You know, we're talking about Dark Souls genders. I mean, here's a thing to consider. Dark Souls must be some form of trans narrative. Because Dark Souls 2 has the gender swap coffin. Okay, you can start as either a male or a female. And in Elden Ring, they've decided to go body type A, body type B, which is basically male-female again, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And in Dark Souls 2, you can jump in the gender swap coffin and you come out the other gender, and it's great. If you want to transition, Dark Souls 2 has got you covered. If you get your hands on a PS5, you are getting Elden Ring. Oh, dude, it's gonna be great. Holy shit! Why did I say dude? Sorry, I just say dude. I apologize. I have got Bloodborne installed on the PS5. Unfortunately, I am well aware of the fact that it does not get higher frame rates. I haven't played it yet. I'm gonna continue my current run on the PS5. But yeah, sadly, regrettably, we know it doesn't have higher frame rates or resolution. There's no patch for it for PS5. There should be, but I think there's actually myriad technical issues buried in the game that prevent it from actually prevent upscaling from being a simple task of a remaster or whatever. There'd be a lot of work involved, because I don't know, like, who remembers with Skyrim, right? There was an issue with the frame rate. Initially, they eventually fixed this, but there was an issue with the frame rate in Skyrim. Let's just say, for example, you get your first house in Whiterun, and you go and grab a whole bunch of objects and you just set them down perfectly at your house how you wanted them to. But you also have a PC that's super powerful and can run Skyrim at like 190 FPS. You walk out of your house and then you walk back in later, all of a sudden every object you've placed just flies across the room for no fucking reason. Because things like that were tied to the frame rate. Eventually, I think they fixed that, so higher frame rates were possible with Skyrim. But Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I don't know about Sekiro necessarily, but for a long time those games have had things attached to the frame rate. Which, yeah, like you've mentioned here, Dark Souls Scholar of the First Sin was broken at 60 FPS since equipment durability was tied to frame rate, yeah. So I don't know what exactly the reasoning behind that is. But From Software's games have routinely had issues with tying things to frame rate. And the moment you, like, jailbreak the 60 FPS... And this is the thing, Lance McDonald did actually manage to jailbreak 60 FPS on PS4. So he was allowed to run the game at... was it 1080p, I think? Because Bloodborne runs at a max of 30 FPS, and in some areas it's less than that. And it runs at 720p, if I'm not mistaken, natively on PS4. Which is kind of disappointing, but given that, you know, Bloodborne's one of those games that is kind of supposed to be a system seller. Like, you look at that game and you think, this game was designed as an exclusive for PlayStation to sell PlayStations. And it doesn't even, like, hit the benchmarks of the system itself. They could have worked that, they could have developed that to get rid of those problems. Namely in certain areas of the game. The DLC doesn't have many frame issues as far as I can recall, but... yeah, anyway. Me, Horde Soul Gems, enters my house. Gems, Ray. NB people don't know anyone. Androgyny, anyway. This is true. Anyway. Hello, old snake. How's it going? We're talking about Dark Souls, apparently. But at any rate, yeah. Lance McDonald did manage to get 60 FPS working on a PS4. I think it was a launch PS4 even. So it's possible. So, you know, it's definitely possible. I don't know what kind of technical limitations there might be involved there, but at the very least it says that it's entirely possible they could release a patch that would upscale Bloodborne to higher frame rates, higher resolutions on PS5. They just haven't decided to do it. Screw deep, meaningful conversations. We got gaming lore. Physics engines definitely shouldn't be tied to FPS. Dead Space also had some funny moments with that. Let's have a look. I love glitchy games. It's fucking hilarious. Freaky Corpse, high FPS bug. We won't turn the audio on. Have a look at this. We did play this on stream a little while back, and it was pretty good. Oh, I remember this segment. I fucking hate this segment. This long hallway where you're just getting spammed with enemies the entire time. Oh, fuck yes. That kind of makes sense, though. It looks like the effect that was from that vent where, like, it shoots, like that vent that was like glowing blue a second ago. It sort of has that effect, generally speaking. At least it's meant to shoot you up. That glowing blue vent right in front there. That's supposed to shoot you up into the roof and kill you, and it does the same to enemies if you trap them in it. However, it looks like the effect was supposed to trigger, but didn't actually stop triggering the moment the enemy moved off the plate. Oh, thank you for reminding me. I wanted to get pancakes and maple syrup because I wanted to make pancakes and maple syrup for my kids later this week. I think they would like that. Thank you for the reminder. I need to get pancake mix and maple syrup. And probably whipped cream. I think they'd like it with whipped cream too. Anyway. It's a ghost now. The fuck did I just read? I don't know, but it put the shopping list in my head. Exclamation mark gender. Do I look like I have a gender command? What would a gender command have? What gender are your kids? Why does it matter to you? I just came here from a stream that was playing this. The eye needle is... Oh, not the eye needle! I haven't played Dead Space 2 yet. Do I have Dead Space 2? Hang on. I've got Dead Space 1. Let me see. No, I don't. I'm not logged into my Steam, actually. I don't think... Do I have Dead Space 2 on Steam? I don't have Dead Space 3. I wouldn't buy Dead Space 3. That was the wrong password. That was also the wrong password. Hang on. Pronouns in bio. Oh no, I don't actually have pronouns in bio though. Okay. Fuck it. I can't be bothered logging back in. Soul level. What is my soul level? What's my soul level? I think my soul level at the moment is like 132. Stop asking invasive, stupid questions. I wonder if that'd fit in the Streamlabs chatbot command bar thing. Just a gender command that puts the word gender on the stream. Hang on. Hang on. Okay, there we go, go nuts. Did it work? It didn't work. It keeps doing this. Okay, so I make a new command and it's not activated straight away. Okay. Oh, my gender. What the heck? Okay. I tried to click on a... What happened? Oh, you mean in the game? Okay, okay. What the... Oh, okay. Wait, it doesn't actually have a cooldown. Anyway. Make it post the drill tweet. This whole thing smacks of gender. Here we go. Fuck it. Yeah. Let's change it. Let's fuck around with the gender command. Can we spam that when trolls try being wankers? Yes, please do. We need some more troll the trolls commands. Gender stream. Grinder. Oh god, no. What else did you idiots say? Do you consider yourself a genderless alien? Where'd that come from? Do I look like a genderless alien? You okay, buddy? Like, what does that mean, bud? Alien. Gender is on cooldown. Mum said it's my turn on the gender afterward. Too much Mass Effect. Speaking of Mass Effect, let's go back to gaming discussions for a second because I want to have a whinge. I want to have a bitch and a whinge, right? Okay, so instead, right, of so what they decided to do with Mass Effect 4, which was actually Mass Effect Andromeda. Imagine having a gender. Oh my god, in this day and age? In this economy? No way. We had a trilogy of Commander Shepard. That was Commander Shepard's story, okay? Commander Shepard's a human. Okay, we get it. Okay, Commander Shepard's always going to be a human. You can customize what your Shepard looks like, but they're always going to be a human. Why for then, after having established the universe and the aliens within it, did they not give us a Mass Effect game where you can play as any of the myriad other races? Right? Why did they just stick with, oh, by the way, you can be a human again. Here's all the interesting aliens. You can be a human. Fuck you. Speciesism. I will never forgive BioWare for this. You can play the other races in multiplayer. That's not good enough. I want a story where I can be a fucking Turian, or a what are the big guys? What are Erdnot Rex and stuff? Krogans, Solarians. We want Solarians. We don't have a hug command because I don't know how to set it up. There is a way to set up a hug command. There is a hug redeem, which is just Maddie gives me a hug. But what I want to set up is a command that's like exclamation mark hug username, and it's like this username hugs that username. Yeah. Tiago, how you going? Good morning. Thank you for redeeming the head pats and the hugs. Maddie's playing Ratchet and Clank though, so I'd have to interrupt her gameplay. Want to be a biotic god Volus? Oh, hell yes. Do I get a hug? I want a hug. She's not giving me a hug. I feel sad now. I don't know if she can hear me. Let me be a damn space succubus. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about the Asari, of course. There we go, I get a hug.
Stand up.
I'm not standing up. I'm not allowed to stand up. You want to know why? You want me to tell them why I'm not allowed to stand up?
Why?
Because I'm wearing a G-string.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You just said that, didn't you? You just said that on chat, on Twitch.
H. Yeah, I can say whatever I want. Well, I probably can't say that much. No, it's a very, very shirt. It's very shirt. It's basically a long shirt.
But they...
Like, it's like... holy crap, I got a
Yeah.
donk. Yeah, this is like very short. You know, if I were to straighten up a little bit, I'd be in danger. I'm gonna sit down very
please.
Cautiously. Abby donk. Seriously, where did that ass come from? Holy shit. Streamers have legs remarkably. Anyway, G-strings are only fun if they're worn the wrong way around. Yes, I do have a guitar. I never play it. I should really play my guitar sometime. I actually probably have the time in my day to do that, but I haven't. Trans girl in danger gone wrong. Yeah, I honestly, on the subject of what was it? On the subject of streamers having legs, I've considered doing more workout streams because I have a treadmill. Problem is, of course, if I were to bring the treadmill in here to do, like, let's do a cardio stream, do some cardio with me. I have a treadmill. You might not necessarily have one. You're the worst guitarist on earth. Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty fucking terrible. Speaking of clothes, you showed your wife that trip outfit and she was drooling over the idea. Here's the thing. The website I usually get my trip gear from still happens to have that particular skirt. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, ooh. Product type, let me see, where is it? Skirt. Yeah, they still have the Lolita skirt in a large, and I'm like, oh, honey. Please chill. What are you folks saying? And I'm not reading your messages. Trip is a brand. Trip NYC. Oh yeah, and calm down with the caps. We don't need caps unless I tell you to chant something. Trip NYC is a brand that does a lot of like raver goth alternative sort of stuff. This kind of vibe. Oh my god, go away. This kind of shit. I mainly love this kind of outfit in particular. I used to have pants very similar to these. But this kind of stuff. I love this fit here. Honestly, like virtually everything they do. Look at that. Oh my god, that's gorgeous. Holy shit. You're from NY State and they sell them in Hot Topic. Yeah, that kind of vibe, yeah. There used to be a store I would get trip gear from when I was a lot younger, which is unfortunately closed down now. Like a physical store, you know. I want to spend more time playing my guitar, but the problem is I just don't... I really enjoy the idea of playing music, but the act of practicing music is a fucking pain, you know. Let me show you, hang on, let me just quickly. Don't look, okay? I'm being careful, don't worry. I don't know if I've worn this on stream yet. Honestly. I've had this outfit, I've showed it off before. On like Twitter and stuff. Where is it? My trip gear. Like this one. I got these, so we got the top and then the pants underneath it. And then I've got gloves that go with it. Which is overall a cute look. Like, it is cute. I like it. I have to actually wear it out sometime. I'll have to actually find an occasion. I mean, I'm going to Melbourne, apparently. I want to go to Melbourne, rather. I'm raising funds to send me to Melbourne. We're doing a fundraiser for me to have money. Bad Bunny, you better not be peeking. It still astounds me whenever she shows up in stream. It's honestly kind of wild to me that Bad Bunny has been in my stream more than on one occasion. And I've been on hers. Like, actually, as a guest, I've been on her stream. And I'm like, oh my god, what? How has this happened? How do I have the attention of, like, sort of famous people? Anyway. Gotta get back into playing your bass. I want to get a bass, too. This is the thing, is like, why do I want to get another instrument when I don't even know how to play that one? What am I doing? Because and she called me hot, yeah. Like, literally on her stream, she goes, Abigail, stop being so hot. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't even really wearing much makeup. Like, you have fat ass thumbs. That would be a hindrance for sure, yeah. Like, one of my friends is a really good guitarist, and he's got really lanky fingers, and I feel like that'd be particularly useful for playing. Piano and double bass. I'd like to learn piano. Playing bass like Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. I'll have to look up Steve Harris. Can't watch it on stream though, unfortunately. As thick as a Twix. Oh my god. You hate when people call me cute or hot because just bottom talk and reply no you and blush. That's the easy way out though. You could just do that kind of thing and people think it's cute, like 100% of the time. Yeah, exactly. 404 reaction, not fat. I don't know how to comprehend this shit. Someone calls me hot, my brain short circuits. Where am I from? I'm from Australia. The merry old land down under. I'm certainly not from Dallas though, where there's a QAnon JFK cult tearing families apart. Do we want to look at this? Got a news article here. If you want to look at it. I'm hot. What? How? Why? Keyboard smash. Anyway. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this news article on Vice News. Vice, can you please, like, close your header a bit? Thanks. It's too big. Okay. The QAnon... See, what... Vice, I can't read your article if you do this shit. The QAnon JFK cult in Dallas is tearing families apart. Yes, QAnon. My sister may be too far gone, but it's not too late to bring awareness to others. Do not fall into this trap. Why, I don't know why the article's so far over on this side, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but we'll manage. Excuse me. This sounds like a meme. Sadly, politics has sounded like a meme for a while now. And make no mistake, this kind of conspiratorial bullshit absolutely is politics. Katie Garner and her sister grew up in a small town in Arkansas and were always close. We both were cheerleaders in school, we made pretty good grades and loved to just hang out with friends and each other. No one has a perfect childhood, but we had each other, we knew that. And that's what made us so close. We even have matching tattoos to remind each other of that, Garner told Vice News. Voice News, mate. They both became nurses, and Garner's sister married a doctor and had 3 children. Then, around the time of the 2020 presidential election, Garner's sister started looking at some of the conspiracy theories swirling online about how former President Donald Trump lost the vote. Excuse me. Ultimately, she found QAnon. It took her about 3 months to become totally obsessed, Garner said. That's all she would talk about. You could call her and somehow the conversation would turn into how we live in a world with reptilians and the Clintons are evil baby eaters. I'm honestly, like, my mind is blown about how people fall into these rabbit holes. Where does this begin? Where does this start and how do they keep tumbling down further and further? Where are they finding this information? I only hear about it through the news, generally speaking, or through YouTubers and other streamers and stuff talking about it. I'm like, how are people finding this shit in the first place? I mean, yeah, it starts online, but fucking where? By the way, us. This is like blowing my fucking mind, dude. I don't get it. Then she found Michael Brian Protzman, known to his followers as Negative 48, who is the leader of a QAnon offshoot that's been camped out in Dallas for the last 3 weeks, awaiting the return of John F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy Jr. Yes, those 2 dead people. Garner's sister left her family behind and drove to Dallas about a month ago and has cut off almost all communication with her family. Facebook and YouTube, I mean, given, like I mentioned this before, I have my my streamer Facebook page, and it has been recommended to like pages like Ben Shapiro and Joe Rogan, completely unfounded. Like, I've done no interaction with any of that kind of content on Facebook on that account, and it recommends me alt-right commentators. So at the very least, we've got that precedent to go off. If there's a new account that doesn't have any sort of algorithmic bias already, like I'm not following any particular leftist creators on that account or anything like that, it just recommends whatever general interest stuff there is, and some of that general interest stuff happens to be far-right commentary, which will lead you down those pipelines, I think. We can talk more about bigotry if we want to revisit Dave Chappelle yet again, if you fancy that on the subject. I haven't looked at anything Joe Rogan's been doing lately. I'm not really particularly interested in him, but we'll see how we go. According to Ghana, her sister has so far handed over about $200,000 to the group. Where are people getting this money from? Jesus. And is being forced to drink a hydrogen peroxide solution and take biopellets to ward off COVID-19 and stay healthy. Yike. Her phone calls and messages are also being monitored, according to Ghana, who believes her sister will never return. She left her children for this and she doesn't even care. She's missing birthdays and holidays for this. She truly believes this is all real and we are the crazy ones for trying to get her to come home. But she won't, Ghana said. I don't believe she will ever come back from this. We are in mourning. Ghana's sister was one of the hundreds of people who initially traveled to Dallas to see JFK reappear on November 2. I have to laugh at this. I cannot not laugh at the concept of traveling however far they traveled to see JFK reappear. Like it was the second coming of Jesus, but it was John F. Kennedy. It's a solemn laugh. It's a little chuckle of absolute incredulity. These are real people that exist. However, when that didn't happen, the goalposts shifted, as they always do. And Protzman convinced dozens of people that if they waited long enough, something else would happen. To get to touch the hole in his head. And keep in mind, JFK Jr. was never a politician. Yeah, they were waiting for JFK Jr. to come back from the dead and announce he was going to be... Well, here's the thing. Announce he was going to be Donald Trump's running partner for 2024. But it's like, Donald Trump wasn't a politician before he was president, so, you know... Katie says her sister's brief messages to her parents have gone from "be home in a few days" to "I am not coming home, my husband can take care of the kids, I'm not leaving until this is over." On the subject, you know, people, the MyPillow guy, is there, I don't know specifically, but all I know is that he is the MyPillow guy, whatever his fucking name is, I forget. In response to, like, some of the things he has said and done, like, I think he paid Rittenhouse's original bail or whatever. Mike Lindell, yeah, exactly. I've seen so many people, like, if you ever go in, his name is Mike Pillow. If you ever go into, like, just as an example, you go into the threads specifically appealing to conservative types. If there was an article about Mike Lindell or anything like that, and you go through the comments, so many people are saying he deserves, like, a congressional seat or whatever, just for whatever it is that he said or done. They're literally just advocating, give who the fuck ever a seat in our literal federal government because he's on our side. Like, no, I mean, this is the thing. We shouldn't trust any politician or any of these kinds of people, but they're really just saying, give anyone on our side who is vocal enough a political position, like actual literal political power, because they agree with us. Not because they have any actual political influence or experience or anything of that nature.
I see you've
Hello again,
brought
Jasmine.
guests.
Hi, friends.
Welcome.
What were you doing
friends.
tonight? Tell us all about it. I'm ranting as... Well, you're a ranting trans. I'm a ranting trans, but you're actually ranting trans. How is streaming? How was your stream? How did things go tonight? It's, as always, an absolute pleasure to see you. Welcome in, friends. What did you get up to tonight? Oh, yeah, Dark Souls. I forgot to tune in. Oh, my God. What was I doing today? Watching Maddie play Ratchet and Clank. Oh my God, I'm so sorry I missed it. I'm going to have to check out the VOD. How are things? How did you go? How many bosses did you beat? Did you beat many bosses? I'm curious. Tell me about it. I'm actually very keen to hear about this. Let's flex. Let's get this on. Oos. Oh my God. Oh, you beat Abyss Watchers. Hell yeah. What do you think of Abyss Watchers? I love the Abyss Watchers fight. I used to hate it. Now I like. I think I hate the fact that it's honestly, in the grand scheme of Dark Souls, not that difficult of a fight. Well, we get hugs. They are hard at first, yes. American politics seems rife with that sort of nepotism. People literally buy ambassadorships. True. Maddie owes me a hug. We'll have to wait. I am too gay to function. Spent like an hour and a half dying to the Abyss Watchers. Honestly, like on a first run, when you're new to the game, that would definitely be the case. That sounds about right. I spent about that long fighting. Probably more than that, actually. Come give me hugs.
Nice healthy amount of hugs.
Nice healthy amount of hugs. Yes. Oh, I didn't spike you, did I?
You're okay.
I'm okay. You okay? There we go. We got hugs.
It's awkward. I'm still figuring out how to...
True. I mean, standing up in this particular outfit is weird, so it's dangerous. But yeah, like if it's your first run or if you've been away from one of those games for a while and you go into it, you're gonna end up spending quite a while fighting certain bosses anyway. Like recently, I'm replaying through Bloodborne, a game I have literally got the platinum trophy for. And I've spent a significant number of hours on certain bosses that I thought would have been easy for me. So, you know. 12 hours you've been stuck in that area. Oh my goodness. That's about how long I spent on the last boss of Sekiro, honestly. So that's one to look forward to. This is your very first Souls one. So give us your honest review so far of Dark Souls 3, of what you've played. How are you liking it overall? What is this? Oh yeah, coffee emails. The first boss in DS3 you really had any trouble with. Well, that's good at least, you know. I feel like the bosses leading up to Abyss Watchers are pretty lenient. Even Udex Gundir, who throws some interesting techniques at you. Do I use eyelash extensions? I've got glue-ons. By the way, I use these ones. Eyelure. They're pretty good. They're like 3/4 lashes. Anyway, I remember to alter the Amethyst cost. I should do that, shouldn't I? It's like a spicy meal that's precisely on the edge of how much you can handle. That sounds pretty good. I honestly, like, I would recommend Dark Souls 3 as an entry point for many people who are keen on the series, quite frankly. Because it tends to cover a lot of Dark Souls as a series, like its best features. And I feel like Elden Ring is going to like do the same thing, basically. It's going to sort of culminate a whole bunch of like all the best things From Software has done. They're good at that. From Software's really good at that. You walked without your cane for the first time since your injury today. Awesome! That's fantastic. They look beautiful. Thank you. I like wearing my falsies. They make me look cute and femme. You know. Anyway. Dark Souls 2 is your jam. You'll be keen to know. Can I spoil Elden Ring? Not much. Can I spoil a little bit of Elden Ring? Or is that not allowed? It's not out yet. I played the network test. Am I allowed to spoil a minor thing if you're a fan of Dark Souls 2? Have a nice stream. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you so kindly for bringing all your friends over. I hope you have a lovely night. Do I look at my... No one's answering my question. Can I spoil a little tiny bit about Elden Ring? Fuck it. Power Stance is back. Fucking Power Stance. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if you've played the network test, there's spoilers aplenty out there, but, you know, that's all I wanted to say. It's like, which shouldn't really come as a shock to anyone, but it's also kind of surprising they brought it back. But anyway. Favorite is easy mode, light souls. Oh, I will say this, though. From what I've played of the network test, for anyone who has struggled with difficulty with Souls games in the past, Elden Ring does have a few accommodations for you. If you do pay attention and go through the tutorial like I didn't do on my first run, because I was a dumbass. But if you actually go through the tutorial, you'll notice there are a few things that are kind of like, this particular feature is designed to make the game a little less challenging for you. You know, there are a number of things that From Software have added that kind of seems like they lean in the vein of, if you want to have an easier time, do this, right? But in this particular regard, it's a little bit more obvious, except for the fact that your tutorial area is in a like pitch black cave. I don't know why they've decided to do this, but you start out in a pitch black cave. Maybe there's an explanation with like the intro cinematic, which you don't get in the network test. And you walk forward and there's a little message on the ground, like the orange messages in Dark Souls or whatever, that says enter the cave of knowledge, right? And that's the tutorial. I walked completely past it. I didn't realize it was a thing. I did not know the tutorial was there. So I hope they make that more obvious in the final release, where the tutorial is. No, not Catacombs 2.0, though I do expect there will be one. Save Wizard makes Souls games very easy for PS4. But yeah, they've, excuse me, definitely added a few concessions to Elden Ring, which will stand out as like little markers for, like, if you want to keep the game challenging, there are certain features you can choose to avoid if you would like to, and there are other features that you can choose to capitalize on if you want to have an easier time of things. Normally they make you opt out to skip the tutorial, not just make it off to the side. It was a weird decision because, yeah, like I had to stumble around a little bit in this dark cave. I found a staircase to a door, which then eventually just led me to outside, and I was like, hang on, is this the start of the game? Do we get a tutorial that guides me through things? You would think if I want to network test things properly, I'd like to have the basic functionalities, which I'm familiar with. I already knew what I was getting into generally, but anyway. It was weird. I hope they make it a little bit more glaringly obvious where the tutorial is in the final game, because as it stands, it's genuinely pitch black in there. You can, unless you crank your brightness way up, you're not going to know where you're going. Anyway, back to QAnon, because that's fun. While the group initially appeared to be waiting for the reappearance of JFK, over the weekend, the tone of Protzman's comments shifted dramatically. Besides proclaiming that he was God's representative on Earth, they're always God's representative. He also took part in a video chat where participants openly spoke about having to experience death in order to learn the truth. Ultimately, we have to experience that physical death, let go, come out on the other side. One of the participants in the video call suggested, I need to watch this. Okay, we need to watch this. I need to know what the fuck is going on. Excuse me. But yeah, like Dark Souls 2 is actually... So let me think. Dark Souls 1 sort of makes you go through the tutorial, like you're forced to go through the tutorial. But the thing is, you can miss the messages, which are on the ground. Dark Souls 2 made the tutorial effectively optional. Dark Souls 3, it's back to mandatory again. The thing with Dark Souls 1 and 3, though, is like... And Dark Souls 2 does this as well, in the optional tutorial area. The messages are on the ground. You have to like go over to them and press the button that brings the message up on the screen. In Elden Ring, the tutorials literally pop up on the screen like in virtually any other game series. You know, so it literally just stops you for a second. Here's what you need to do. Read the message that we're sending you right now. We're going to explain very effectively how this mechanic works. It's quite good that they've done it that way. Anyway, let's pause this for a second and watch this video. Okay,
with the information Charlie's dropped on you, if you're in Charlie's group and you're still around, you're tested.
Yeah, it's that baptism of fire going through that forge, you know, which is ultimately what we all have to go through. We have to experience that physical death, let go of our ego, and come out on the other side. Burn everything that doesn't serve us. Burn all the lies away, and only all that's left is the truth.
Sorry, I had my mic muted. Okay, what in the fuck? I mean, this is not a surprise to anyone who's familiar at all with the way religious people genuinely speak. So we're clear. This is what the Christians actually believe. Anyway, hours later, the administrator of Protzman's Telegram channel posted a screenshot of a navigation app showing the destination as Waco, Texas, where in 1993 a months-long law enforcement siege of the Mount Carmel compound belonging to the Branch Davidian religious sect ended with 76 people dead, including 25 children. Not all Christians, but this kind of rhetoric can generally be ascribed to particularly American Republican Christians, so American conservative Christians. They're very, like, it's really weird. You could watch a movie about psychotic cults and the way that, or you could just watch any documentary that covers the Westboro Baptist Church, and the kind of language that they use, this almost literal interpretation of your death will lead to a legitimate literal afterlife and all this kind of thing, lead to true enlightenment and all that kind of stuff. They genuinely believe this shit. It's not hyperbolic, right? It's a real thing, and it's scary. And it's that kind of cult-like behavior. But there are major religious organizations and millions and millions of people, billions probably, who are genuinely on board with this shit, which is bizarre to me. Anyway. The QAnon offshoot cult that has been camped out in Dallas for 3 weeks has been widely mocked for claiming that John F. Kennedy and his son would suddenly reappear. But as the weeks have passed, the group's rhetoric has become increasingly extreme, and many cult and extremism experts are concerned about the direction the group has taken. The moment when the leaders of a cultic group start talking about the need for physical death to reach utopia is the moment to get the authorities involved. Mike Rothschild, the author of The Storm is Upon Us, a book about QAnon, tweeted. Carolyn Orbueno, a behavioral scientist who researches social media manipulation and far-right extremism, compared the shift in direction of the group's rhetoric to the beliefs expressed by the accused murderer Matthew Coleman them years over there. These are basically the exact same spiritual/religious teachings that the guy in California was getting into just before he brutally murdered his 2 young children, or tweeted. Several extremist researchers who are closely tracking this group's activities told Vice News that they have sent information to the FBI. A spokesperson for the agency's Dallas field office told Vice News that it cannot open an investigation based solely on protected First Amendment activity, but urged members of the public who observe threatening, suspicious, or illegal activity to get in touch. Our years, comrade. A spokesperson for the Dallas Police Department told Vice News that the department has limited contact with the group. At this time, there is no significant reason this group should be a cause of concern. When contacted by Vice News on Sunday, Protzman did not deny the allegations about the threat his group posed to its members, but rather than responding directly to the specific questions sent to him, he lashed out at the media's coverage of the group, mocked mask-wearing, and said the media were whores for the 1% globalist pimps. Damn, I wish I was a 1% globalist pimp. But for those whose family and friends are under Protzman's spell, concerns about their safety are growing by the day. I'm very worried about her safety, one friend of a person inside the group told Vice News, requesting anonymity to speak openly about the situation. We don't know if she's given him any money, but her husband is about to cancel her cards. She's blowing through money fast. The woman said her friend's husband was making the decision to cancel her credit cards because he's worried about how he's going to pay his mortgage this month. In an audio chat among members of Protzman's group on Telegram, one man spoke about cashing in his retirement savings in order to fund his stay in Dallas. This is what's so terrifying. As well as soliciting funds from members of the group, Protzman and his core group of supporters continue to solicit donations from the hundreds of thousands of people who follow him online. What is the justification for the donations? I'm curious. QAnon are twice as likely to watch Fox News as those who aren't in QAnon. Wait, in QAnon or in QAnon-associated cults? What? I'm not sure what specifically QAnon is as an entity. In the Telegram channel the Splinter Group has set up, one woman spoke about her fiancé who traveled to Dallas initially at the beginning of the month, returned home to Missouri, but returned to Dallas a week later after Protzman made another prediction. Now she's worried that her fiancé may be lost to her for good. Supporters, okay. Thought Fox was considered liberal mainstream media in that set now. They're on to OANN and such now. Oh, heck, I don't know, honestly. I can't keep up. I keep asking him to come home and he keeps saying something big is going to happen and he doesn't want to miss it. It's literally FOMO. They literally have FOMO. That's what they're paying for. Anyway. A member of the Dealey Plaza Truthers group wrote, I have already thought that perhaps my fiancé might be penniless if he stays with this group. I just hope they wake up before losing everything. Protzman's latest deadline for something big to happen is Monday, the 58th anniversary of the assassination of JFK in Dallas, and watch when nothing happens then. They'll move the goalposts again and keep going. But once that passes without anything happening, Protzman will likely propose another date. Yeah, I literally just should have kept reading. To keep people from leaving. And while Katie Garner believes her sister cannot be saved, she wants other families to be alert to the warning signs that someone is falling down the same rabbit hole as her sister. Protzman must be stopped, Garner said. My sister may be too far gone, but it's not too late to bring awareness to others. Do not fall into this trap. Do not believe what these people say. They are all delusional and brainwashed. And if you notice a family member isolating themselves, speaking of nonsense, say something. Bring them back to reality. We didn't put 2 and 2 together. She hid this from us for a year. Don't let what happened to my family happen to yours. Pay attention and hold the ones you love tight. That's kind of sad that she just literally, she and her family have effectively written off the sister. That's honestly kind of unfortunate to look at, to notice that, you know, these people might be, just like giving up on family members. Like there's no way to recover this person. They've lost the plot. You would hope, you would think, you would keep your fingers crossed that maybe, you know, there's some process of getting them out of these kind of cultish situations, but... Hello, Phoebe, how are you? Hello, obscure and absurd Oz person, that's me! QAnon just keeps schlepping along and dragging more and more into their cult like the world's most depressing Katamari ball. Hey, yeah, how are you, Fiend? I'm glad to hear you're doing well. What is being chatted about? Well, I suppose QAnon at the moment, the QAnon JFK cult, which we just read about on Vice, which, you know... I heard about the JFK thing recently. I didn't know it was that dire. You know, you gotta tell me something. What do you gotta tell me, Draco? Tell us all about it. Oh, excuse me. I'm as pretty as QAnon is dumb. Oh no, Vorsh is trending again. Shit. Anyway, why does Vorsh keep trending? There we go. We've got the QAnon story out of the way for the night. True. Is this a French way of saying true? Is it true? True. True. The issue with these cults, is that it is a thinking pattern and nothing cannot be undone, but it is a challenging issue. De-radicalization is a challenge, and I have been radicalized and de-radicalized, so I can speak for this all day long. Well, I'd appreciate your insights. Because Vorsh is involved in the RGR versus Doe issue, is that still ongoing? Are we still having that discussion? Let's have a look. Let's go see what the Twitch trending. Yeah, that'll be the day. Let's go see what the actual trending page for Vorsh says. I am conspiratorially cute. I mean, if I look up Vorsh, the first thing I see is a tweet from him saying, "Why even make the fucking movie then?" And I do agree. You know, Mario Brothers movie co-producer Chris Meledandri said, "The voice Chris Pratt is doing for us and Mario is phenomenal," before confirming that it won't have any specific Italian leanings or influence. V Omega lol shit. What's RGRV Doe? We didn't end up watching it. I did bookmark it. We can have a look, but it might be potentially triggering, especially anyone who might be a victim of CSA, because that does come up pretty significantly. But Riley Grace Rochon debated Doe or Exilia X on the issue. Like they rehashed the Kink at Pride debate, I think. They rehashed a number of things. And it ended pretty unfortunately. Apparently it was a very heavy discussion. I haven't watched it yet. I've only seen the one clip of the very end where Doe drops the call, because Riley is making an honestly really heavily offensive point, which I won't elucidate upon. If we want to watch it, we can watch it together. I've heard the actual debate itself is like half an hour, so, you know. But I also saw a tweet from, I think it was Merrick DeVille, where it was like, if you haven't already covered the RGRV Doe thing, let it go. You know, basically, like, it's pretty harmful for all involved. It's more than likely the best to just put it aside and leave it. And I might watch it on my own time just to get a feel for... I've been saying that for a while, since, like, Monday, that I would watch it on my own time. But it seems like, you know, the discussion has been harmful to all parties involved more than not. And it's not worth the continuing conversation. It's not worth continuing to dredge it up to have the discourse. The discourse has been had. It seems like a lot of bridges have been burned, and a lot of people are really not happy with the overall circumstance. RGR should just stick to playing Elder Scrolls. Yeah. So I honestly don't know. And I kind of agree. Like I'm all for just letting it be. We could probably just drop that topic as a potential thing. Last heard, Doe was trying to move past this and stop talking about RGR, and RGR was trying to appeal to Vorsh, and he was like, "This is dumb." Hello, Evil. How's it going? What's this? Okay. What has Doe said recently? I'm not seeing any recent, Okay, so the last tweet that I can see from Doe about Riley Grace Rochong is this one that says, I've been thinking, if Riley ever sees this and feels... Oh, hang on, what's this? Okay, so there's a whole thread here. Okay, but this tweet in particular. If Riley ever sees this and feels it's at all true to her actual position, I hope she feels understood. I know well how hard it is to feel like no one understands you. She still hurt me. She's still wrong, but I hope at least she feels a little understood. Yeah. I think the Demon Mama situation, from what I can understand, is that Demon Mama was report brigaded by what appears to be fans of Riley Grace Rochong because of things that Demon Mama said about RGR. And as a result, yeah, RGR's community brigaded Demon Mama with reports. And if you get reported enough times in a short enough time period on Twitch, Twitch auto-suspends your account. Like, they don't even investigate it, they just auto-suspend. Which I think is what happened with me. I think I got report brigaded in the wake of that Super Straight debacle, like, I don't know, a year-ish ago, less than a year ago. And I got like a week suspended from Twitch because my name was offensive, even though according to Twitch's own terms of service, the username I had at the time was perfectly fine. But all it takes is for a big enough group of people to just go to an account and spam reports. And the system will just go, okay, we're sick of getting these reports, we're just going to suspend this person. And then that person has to go out of their way to get the suspension repealed, which is just ridiculous. And Hans is someone I've never even heard of until the Two Holes thing. Honestly, that's the first time I even knew this guy existed. Somehow involved in this on RGR side because, of course, classic tale of a horribly puritanical take and someone who doesn't want to admit they are wrong. That's generally like what I've understood. I am offensively cute, but look at this. I'm sorry, I might be offensively cute, but where are all my subs? If I am offensively cute, if I am just this stupid, you know, I'm one of those pretty e-girls on the internet. I'm supposed to have pay pigs and simps. Where are you all? Where are all the people paying me money to just sit here in a camera and talk? In a camera. I'm sitting in a camera, apparently. To sit in a chair. Oh, goodness. Did they get suspended for malicious false reporting? I doubt it. Twitch wouldn't do something like that, honestly. That's too much work for them on their end to do anything. From what I've seen, someone took Demon Mama's comments about RGR becoming a lawyer as if she was calling for people to prevent RGR getting a job and therefore the mass reporting, which is the gist of it. Somebody tweeted that the Maryland, somebody tweeted that they should contact the Maryland bar with Riley's recent comments to Doe, right? And said, is this someone you want representing you in the legal system? And Demon Mama tweeted support of that, quote tweeted it and just like yes or what, I don't know what Demon Mama actually said. Either way, in both circumstances, that's going after someone's career. On the one hand, you've got people going after Riley's career with the Maryland bar, and you've got people going after Demon Mama's career because she literally supports like 3 people on her streaming income. So, you know, in both circumstances, taking away income from an individual. Which is pretty heinous. Like, having a bad take like Riley did is not justification for going after her job. Depending on the take. Here's my nuance of here's my nuanced take on people's hot takes. You can have hot and spicy takes on the internet in a public forum for all to see. And there are certain takes which are reprehensibly dog shit, but they should not justify having you fired, right? And Riley's take on the CSA situation does not justify having people going after her job. But there are other reprehensibly dogshit takes that absolutely would justify maybe not going after someone's job, but if they get fired for saying those things, then it's completely understandable. But that all depends, of course, upon the organization that someone is working for, like whatever circumstance it is. If someone says, was it Destiny who got his partner tick, their partner tick? What's Destiny's pronouns? I don't know. Got their partner tick removed, if I recall correctly, for saying something that was construed as facilitating vigilante violence. Or was it something else? What did Destiny say? You know what, let me... Destiny, Stephen Bonnell, loses Twitch partnership for encouraging violence back in September of last year. Which you could argue is a similar point. I mean, if Destiny is still considered an affiliate, it doesn't necessarily affect much if they're still collecting subs. But just generally speaking, lost his Twitch partnership for encouraging violence. No official statement from Twitch on the partnership matter. Destiny did note that the streaming platform had emailed him to inform the streamer that they were revoking his partnership due to unspecified encouragement of violence. Why was his partnership removed? Confused to what he may have said that got him in trouble. Like, this kind of thing, the rioting needs to fucking stop, Destiny said. If that means white redneck militia dudes mowing down dipshit protesters that think they can torch buildings at 10 p.m., at this point they have my fucking blessing. So that kind of thing is different in my perspective, in my personal view. That, like, if you contrast that to the things that Riley Grace Rochong said. Riley Grace Rochong had shit takes, but the Destiny encouraging violence thing is a different situation with regards to should a person lose their partnership or lose their job or whatever, you know. Although, fall on good point here, if I had someone dragging me as enabling child abuse for months, even if I was a victim in my childhood, I'd say they don't deserve to pass the bar. Which is a whole thing of, like, the decision should probably come down to the bar itself, you know. But yes, that's definitely definitively bad. Like, because holy shit. Anyway, I don't know. I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, which I always do, but you know. I'm definitely one of those people that's like, you probably shouldn't go after a person's job, broadly speaking. Slippery slope. Because in a similar vein, I don't know. Can I make this comparison? I don't know if I can make this comparison. Like the if we have like one precedent set that you can go after someone's job, like allegedly, and I mean I wouldn't be surprised if this was absolutely true. Like with Riley's community going after Demon Mama and getting her report brigaded and banned. That does set a precedent now that like if someone says one thing on social media or says one thing on Twitch, says something on Twitch or on YouTube or wherever, if you can just weaponize a community, and I'm not saying Riley is at fault for what seems like the actions of her community, but if for example you can just weaponize a community to say go report this person because I don't like what they said, right? If it was specifically abusive, if it was specifically like a harmful thing, a death threat or whatever, that might be justification to report someone and get their account suspended. But if it were, you know, this person said something that might offend me, you know, technically. Fuck most of political YouTube, they cause so much shit. That's just politics in general, though. That's just political commentary in general. It's not even just specifically YouTube. It's the whole sphere, you know. You're of a similar mind, she's got no respect for victims. I mean, yeah. That's how it comes across. Broadly speaking, anyway. I don't even know what... I feel like I'm not the most clued in person on this discussion. And I want to have the discussion. I want to have the conversation around whatever it is. But I feel like I'm out of my depth. Which is unfortunate because I feel like some of you, for whatever reason, value my input on certain situations, on certain scenarios. Which leaves me at a bit of an impasse because, you know, I think I should have some kind of point. But I don't know if I do. I'm just kind of like putting the pieces together in my head and then spitting them out at you. What do we think? We could move on to news. News is always easy. There was something we could do the Trump mocked over the honorary Taekwondo belt thing. I would only go after their job if they work in a field where their actions could cause harm via that profession. I.e., if someone who works as a nurse is sharing anti-vax stuff, I want them removed from being responsible for people's health. I 100% agree with that one, which is a very relevant topic that's actually happening right now. You know, and this is a thing that I've noticed reactionaries are commenting on. It's like, oh, if COVID is such a bad problem, why are we firing health workers? Well, because those health workers are legitimately putting people at risk. They're not abiding by, what's it called? Like their Hippocratic Oath. You know, first do no harm. By, you know, being anti-vax in the first place. I'm out of my depth, basically me in any political conversation. RGR has the mind of I'm rational, therefore I'm right, and you will see that if you understand how rational I am. Which is a lot of people, honestly. They take this, and this is where I unfortunately begin to lose a bit of respect for Riley Grace Rochon, because I used to watch Riley Grace Rochon and thought she had some good takes. I thought she had some good policies. But then as time has gone on, the more I've heard out of her mouth, the more I'm just like, she's kind of leaning in a vein that's very, broadly speaking, she's got a bit of a gatekeepy attitude on a number of different things, which doesn't strike me as the best course of action. And she justifies that, from what I can tell, like many academics do, on the basis that she is particularly educated on law, you know. This is the way things work because of the law, you know. But we're all well aware of the fact that the law is specifically curated to benefit certain people. And as a result, you know, it's really difficult because so many healthcare workers are being negligent about other stuff like CT scans and surgeries. So it's people going with bad logic and bad faith along with their practice methods. I've got a hair in my mouth. It wasn't even attached to me. It was just a hair in my mouth. I thought it was like one of mine. Thought she was decent until the Pride Parade discourse. Basically the same. Yeah. Yeah, ethics cannot be argued from law as a source. Yeah. Which unfortunately makes any discussion that involves, like, it makes any of those kind of debates from certain perspectives. Well, honestly, debates are fucking shit. Debate bro culture is fucking shit. Can we argue that point? This is why I don't debate. RGR does not let things go. She just has to keep proving her side. Yeah. Oh my god, why am I sniffly? Can only imagine how horrified she'd be to see a woman wearing a low-cut top, very low-cut, revealing top in public without her consent. Pretty much. Doesn't help that the executives in healthcare are only looking at how billing is managed and not putting anything else in wages or resources for workers. So basically like any corporation. Ethics and law do not mix any more than science and faith do, pretty much. So, yeah, I mean, like this is where things get tricky, because like we understand the way the law works. We understand that the law has very specific. I'm not a legal expert. If you couldn't tell, I'm not a legal expert. But the law is very specifically written so that when there is a court case operating, a court case ongoing, I suppose is a better word, the way that lawyers are allowed to argue has to be within the framework of that legal system. But it also has the propensity for being argued within interpretations of that legal system, which is where you could potentially argue the point that ethics does apply in law to a point based on the interpretations of how, like, what defenses lawyers are using for their clients and such. But that's not really the point here, I suppose. I don't know. Just say, I am sorry, and there never would have been months of drama, RGR. Just apologize if you hurt someone and move on from that. Don't dig and dig. Yeah, she refuses to pull her heels out of the mud here. You know, you have to hop in the shower and clean yourself up, then start your day. You'll leave the stream up. Thank you so kindly, Fester. I appreciate it. Let's debate about debate. Can we not, though? Oh, goodness. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm just, yeah. I feel like I'm out of my element. I feel like I'm out of my depth. But I want to have an opinion here, but I just don't know what to say. And as a result, you know, I feel like there's no across-the-board accountability when we don't have accountability on a flat surface. You see who is allowed to get away with what. Sentencing lengths and money spent, pretty much. Which protests are severely annoying and which ones aren't, like with the proposed PCSC bill? I don't know about the PCSC bill. The problem is making things personal. Don't make things personal. True. Ideal legal system, I suppose, would be don't make things personal, but inherently every one of these situations, every case you're going to be faced with is going to have some element of personality to it. Down to the way jurors are picked out. You know. I don't know which protests count as severely annoying. Obviously, J.K. Rowling is particularly annoyed with the protest that took place outside of her very public landmark castle in Scotland. When you start saying UI accent, there's going to be problems here. At the end of the day, these cases affect individual people. That they do. But the way these cases are argued is on a system of rules and regulations that are determined for ignorance of individuality. Joanne's just mad people know she lives in a fucking castle. Anyway. Alright, let's have a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Trump mocked over a picture of him receiving... and this is hilarious to me, honestly. Of a picture of him receiving honorary Taekwondo black belt. This is hilarious because somebody legitimately tweeted in response to this that this just goes to show how respected Trump is across the world. And I'm like, fuck off. Anyway. Picture of World Taekwondo Headquarters President Lee Dong-sup and former US President Donald Trump. Oh, hello. What's going on? Oh, flex. Okay. Us. There you go. Was there a hug that I missed before? No, I don't think so. Anyway, you can have another flex if you want. There you go. That's just for her, honestly. That's just Ziwa. Anyway.
Put on the DOB screen.
Anyways, honorary black belt. Yeah. J.K. Rowling annoyed trans community. Yeah, that's how we feel. Thanks to idiots like you. Anyway. The awarding of an honorary black belt in Taekwondo to Donald Trump has been widely mocked after images of the ceremony appeared on Facebook. The former US president was handed the honorary black belt by the World Taekwondo Headquarters, which is located in Seoul, South Korea, on Friday at Mar-a-Lago. A picture of Mr. Trump with World Taekwondo Headquarters President Lee Dong-sup appeared on the Sports Body's Facebook to honor the Florida homeowner who said he was a fan of the martial art. Mr. Trump allegedly told Mr. Dong-sup, "It is my honor to receive honorary Dan certificate, and I think Taekwondo is a magnificent martial art for self-defense." On Twitter, the 75-year-old was both mocked and accused of being not worthy of the 9th degree black belt. I mean, yeah. Clown Shoes got an honorary joke. Why is there an honorary black belt? Like, the black belt is literally a symbol of achievement and accomplishment and hard work over years and years. So you don't give this shit away honorarily. What the fuck does that even mean? You could tell he just paid for it. He just made a big donation to the Taekwondo Association and they gave him the belt. You just know. You just know. You don't even need to have any evidence whatsoever. You just know that's what happened here. It is typically awarded only to experienced teachers of the martial art and requires years of training and teaching in Taekwondo. As someone who actually earned their black belt in Taekwondo, I'm not happy about this, a Twitter user wrote of WTH's award. 9th degree is a Grandmaster rank. Unbelievable. What does this say? So, why would an Asian American give any award to Trump after what he's done to vilify the Asian community? No, TJF is not worthy of such an honor. What's TGF, sorry, TGF. The Twitter user continued by asking, the remarks were an apparent reference to Mr. Trump facing accusations of anti-Asian rhetoric around COVID. Oh, yeah, right. Which he referred to as the Wuhan flu, the China flu, and other nicknames. Another tweeted, Trump got a black belt from perfecting the art of Kung Flu, not Taekwondo. Haha. It was inspired by his racist rhetoric surrounding COVID-19. Not only did he not earn it or deserve it, but as soon as he got it, he demanded to see its birth certificate. Lol. Honorary titles are so tacky, argued another user. Remember, this is the same guy who holds his glass or bottle of water with both hands, and now he will tout that he is the best in martial arts. Not only did he not earn it or deserve it, wrote another on Twitter, but as soon as he got it, he did. Oh yeah, we already saw it. That's literally there. I hate when they do that in articles. The remarks appear to take aim at Mr. Trump for being photographed holding a glass of water with 2 hands, and for falsely accusing Barack Obama of not having a U.S. birth certificate, alternatively known as the birther conspiracy. WTH said the awarding of an honorary title to Mr. Trump was not political, although it remains unclear why he received the black belt. Because he fucking paid for it. Because he paid for it! I guarantee you he just paid money. Imagine being that sad. That's like weeb level shit. That's like the. I mean, I'm just gonna call out cringe for a second. It's like those people who just buy a katana, and never having trained with it, they just have. I mean, shut up. Okay, that's a replica of a fictional weapon. Anyway, journalists not doing their research. Twitter engagement articles. That's all you need to know, though. Honestly, it's like weeb level shit. It is weeb level shit. Donald Trump is a weeb confirmed. Yeah, every belt in Taekwondo is an achievement. It's not an honorary belt, so. By that logic, I can do operations as an honorary brain surgeon. Universities do the same shit sometimes, honorary doctorate degrees and stuff, which is just as bad, I suppose. We do not claim him. Too bad. Donald Trump is now a weeb. Korea boo, I suppose, yeah. Neil, everyone. I'm here. Okay, Satan. How's it going? But anyway, yeah. And Abby needs to defend her milady. Anywho, I just thought that was funny because it's just so indicative of Donald Trump to do that. I don't think it was actually a legitimate thing of him being gifted the belt. I think he made a contribution to the organization, and they were just like, "Oh, here we go. Here's an honorary black belt for you, my good sir." But yeah, it's like, it's kind of ludicrous. It is quite ludicrous. I have heard though that, you know, a lot of the time when universities do hand out honorary degrees, do they do honorary doctorates really? It's largely because that person has demonstrated, well, I mean, I don't know. I just, in my experience, having read about honorary degrees being given out. What was I going to say? It is because that person has demonstrated an applicable knowledge of the subject at hand that they are being given an honorary degree for. I might be wrong, but you know. Insert the bit from 300. Well, I haven't seen 300. Where Leonidas makes excuses on why he can't kneel. Literally in rehab because you can't kneel. Oh shit. You're planning on getting into Taekwondo again? I want to get into karate again or something. I don't know. If I kick his ass, do I get the belt? Does it get passed down? If you defeat Trump, do you get the black belt and then do you have to hold it? Is it like a championship belt in wrestling? Anyway. That's neither here nor there, though. I have to take a break. It's 10:30. It's be right back time. In Finland, all doctoral students get a sword when they finish. That's fucking cool. Hell yeah. I want a sword for finishing a degree. Doesn't mean anything. It's kind of meaningless, but you know. I gotta pee. Alright, we'll be back in a moment, folks. Don't go away. Hello, folks, I have returned. Let me just slam this volume down. My GF, I'm just going to keep reminding you all that I'm not single, is in the kitchen cutting up a brownie that we made today. We made brownies! We made brownies again. Just regular old brownies, chalky brownies, with like white and dark choc chips. It's going to be cool. Where were we? Thing you don't like about Taekwondo and Karate is that they were basically derived from more traditional martial arts to be sports and don't actually teach effective ways of winning fights. They teach how to fight fairly and win points. Which, yeah, true. I do remember, like, the last time I went to a karate class, they were specifically trying to teach us techniques based on self-defense. Like, if someone comes at you with a knife, here's the way to, like, push their arm to the side and disarm. You know, those kind of things are useful. But I was like literally just going to the karate classes to try to get my daughter involved in it, but then a number of things came up and we couldn't end up making that a regular thing. It's really fucking raining right now. Hello, Doom. How's it going? Why are you referencing Monty Python and the Holy Grail? No, not those kind of brownies. I've seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail a few times. That's the only one I've seen, though, I think. I've seen the other, I've seen bits and pieces of, like, Life of Brian and a few of the Monty Python skits over the years, but I haven't actually gotten heavy into it. For some reason, the Holy Grail is the one I've seen the most of. It's only a flesh wound. Honestly, if you haven't heard that reference before, I'd be entirely shocked. Who hasn't heard the flesh wound reference at this stage? Why would we not be referencing Monty Python? I mean, I like the ex-parrot skit. That one's good. This is an ex-parrot. I haven't seen any Monty Python in a while, though. I mean, you've never watched a full Monty Python movie and you don't really care to. It's definitely like... I mean, some of it holds up, some of it doesn't. This is a deceased have-been parrot. Somebody put the dismembered Black Knight in their front garden for Halloween. That's good. That's cool. That's pog. I think, like, this is the problem, right? Is obviously John Cleese has sort of fallen off the rails a bit, especially anytime anyone's asked his input on trans people. Like, let's just not. Can we just not ask old British people what their thoughts on trans people are? Just don't do it. Just not your cup of tea. I can understand that. He's not the Messiah. He's just a naughty boy. Our next topic of discussion should be a shrubbery. I don't know about a shrubbery, but we do have... Is there anything in here relating to, like, the environment? Nerds quoted Python so much during the 90s that it all got used up and can't be used again for another decade or so. John Cleese turned into one of his characters, Basil Fawlty. Yeah. And this is the thing, because, like, Basil Fawlty was the protagonist of Fawlty Towers, many people have this issue with, like, protagonist complex, protagonist syndrome, sort of, where they will look at characters like Basil Fawlty and think, this guy's the main character, so he must be the good guy, so everything he says and does is actually really cool, actually. Comedy is one of those things that's so dependent on culture it ages poorly most of the time. Well, yeah, exactly. Like, society is conditioned to move forward. It's conditioned to embrace new ideas over time. You know, so if you... Like, I mean, yeah, some comedy can age well. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely some comedy that can age well. But there's a lot of comedy that doesn't because it's rooted in ideas from a different period. So, you know, when people will say shit like, oh, it was another time, you know, generally speaking, we might think to ourselves, oh, you know, that's just how things were back in those days. But based on modern social conventions, we can look back and say, well, what they were saying back then wasn't really acceptable. Like, for example, all those comedians from ye olden days, or all those sitcoms where it was like, here's the husband who is begrudgingly married to his wife, or like, oh, well, I really don't like my wife, and all this kind of shit. You know, like, for its time period, for the social conventions, people thought that was hilarious because the old ball and chain mentality was going around. But nowadays, we're just like, oh, hey, that's kind of shit, actually. Hi, are you bringing me brownie?
Who's chatting yet?
Chat knows. Ace Ventura, that's a good example.
Show chat.
Oh, yeah, chat, look. Brownie. It's got white choc and dark choc chips.
Shall
Shall we? Yes, we shall. It sounds fucking... I mean, it sounds hot. It does sound hot, but also...
Oh.
Like, the plate feels hot. Looper redeemed hugs. You got a plate of brownie, though. I mean, there's a spot there. Give me little hugs.
Too hot to really taste up.
Hi, babe. Gay. Gay.
Very gay.
I'm not calling you the gay slur this time. Not on stream. You ferret. Fair. Oh, she's trying. But yeah, we made a different recipe to the last time we made brownies. It's not bad though. It seems pretty alright.
But the last one, but with chopped chips on top.
Yeah, the last one was with chopped chips on top. That'd be good. Anyway, you're an awful person for laughing when watching some Married with Children episodes. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to laugh at whatever it is you want to laugh at. This is the thing, like, this is, I think... Is this an issue of media literacy? For example. Like, clearly, to go back to everybody's favorite, David Chappelle, he's got some bits throughout his career that are distinctly problematic, of course. Like, one of the major reasons that he quit Chappelle's show way back when was because he realized white people were laughing at his jokes on race for the wrong reasons, right? But the thing is, like, and now he's come back to comedy in the last few years, and now he's making remarks about other minorities and all of this, and those minorities are like, well, you know, the context of those jokes you're making about the queer community at the moment are inherently problematic. They're inherently an issue. You are causing more division and more disdain towards these communities. But at the end of the day, there's still a significant audience of Dave Chappelle's that are laughing at those jokes. So we can say from a, what would you say, like an objective perspective? Not really. From an objective perspective, I suppose. The jokes are funny because there is an audience laughing at them. The jokes are funny to at least a certain subsect of the community, you know. And the same could be said of any comedy. Like, there's a lot of comedy out there that the reason it's considered funny is because someone's laughing. You know, taken in the wrong way when done by minorities about minorities.
Canned laughter.
Pardon? Well, there's canned laughter as well. Like, there are a number of shows out there that are just distinctly not funny, like anything by Chuck Lorre. You know. You know what would go with that brownie? Spam! No, we're not doing spam.
Who said that?
You know you're in a private hospital when the brownie is decorated with a fucking edible flower. Lol. When you have canned laughter, you feel that group pressure to laugh. True, good point.
He said icing sugar.
Yes, we got icing sugar on this. Yes, send me to Melbourne.
No berries.
Hit exclamation mark Melbourne in the chat. Type that in the chat.
You should use the other one. It's usually an old recipe.
Okay, we'll look it up again.
I have a...
This is still nice though. I don't mind this.
Yeah, it's nice.
A snack, eating a snack. Yes, I am. Send me some money so I can go to Melbourne. It doesn't cost that much. That would cover like a return flight and expenses. You know. You had a dream you were backpacking in Australia. Hey Melbourne, let's watch Go Away Melbourne edition. Dave even pretending not to know about punching down as a professional comedian feels so disingenuous. Yeah, that's definitely disingenuous, especially when you consider what I just mentioned before. You'd have like £10 for the rest of the month. Well, true. I don't want to do that to anyone. Chuck us a few bucks so I can go to Melb's, mate. Kind of fucked up for me because I have problems with the sound of laughter. Don't know if it's because autism or trauma, but trauma. Hearing the sound of it really sets you off, which, I mean, that's fair. I couldn't define exactly what the trauma response might be, but people can be traumatized by any number of things. Yeah, Melbourne's a city in Australia. All quoting aside, as much as I love Monty Python and treasure the movies and series, I do admit that some jokes have aged poorly, so I tend not to stand by those. However, I will laugh at those that do still hit right. Which is the thing, right? It's like, one can have a nuanced discussion about what comedy is. Like, you can watch a comedian special and find certain bits genuinely funny and realize that there are other bits during that special or whatever it is. Or same with a sitcom, same with old Monty Python movies and skits and all that kind of thing. There's always going to be varying degrees of, like, I find this actually amusing. AZ36, hey, how you going? You know. No one is going to be like... No one's going to be for everyone, you know. What is Australia? A miserable little pile of secrets. Big disappointment in Castlevania is that they never had Dracula say the line, "What is a man?" Well, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. He doesn't say the fucking line. A miserable little pile of secrets.
I haven't finished the show, it's right.
Well, true. Australia is gay UK. Could play La Fiesta by Nova's Janice. It's a really cool indie synth track. I could think about it, but I don't... What's he doing? Why is he like this? I don't like to play anything like unprepared before stream. Like, just wildly on stream, honestly. Sydney is the gay capital of the gay community. You're leaving him with me? Okay, bye. Thank you, by the way, for the brownie. We made it. We made it together. Try to point out that the comedy movie Ace Ventura has aged terribly and nothing else. Sorry if this came across wrong. I mean, yeah, it really has in a lot of ways. And I mean, this is another point where the discussion of how media affects our viewpoints. Media affects our perspectives, right? Some people will have the capacity to look at a piece of media and break down which parts are good and which parts are bad. And for some people, I suppose, like, the bad might outweigh the good. There might be, like, one particular section of a movie, for example, that's notoriously awful, but the rest of the movie is quite decent. But that one part might have a particular issue to that person or that group of people or whatever, and they might denounce that entire thing as a result, which is entirely within their rights to do. What even was the joke in Ace Ventura other than cross-dressing men hilarious? That was it. That was literally the joke. The joke was that, oh my god, this woman's actually a man. That makes me want to vomit, and that's the humor. Like, that's the whole joke. That's the point. Is it okay to link something I made a while back that's relevant to the topic of offensive comedy, if you would like? How incredibly funny. And that's the thing. People see that kind of thing, and people see the jokes that Dave Chappelle's making. And we can cover the most recent Dave Chappelle bullshit. Dave Chappelle... Where was it? Is it in my history? Probably not. There was a recent thing. Was it news? These are from like a month ago, from 3 weeks ago, etc. There was a news story, like literally today, about how Dave Chappelle swore off LGBTQ jokes and then he goes back to doing it today. He goes back to doing it in his recent shows. Where is it? Fuck, I can't think. Can someone... I don't even know where to look. Hang on. Let's go look. Let's go Google Dave Chappelle in the news tab. Oh my god, it was literally like today. It was a today article. Not today like the news publication, like recent. Anyway, let's Dave Chappelle is back to making transphobic jokes. Maybe this is the one. Here we go. At Madison Square Garden event. Update in November 23. So what's the update? At any rate, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I said I won't make any more LGBTQ jokes. Oh, by the way, I'm going to keep making LGBTQ jokes. Anyway, there we go. Let's have a look. So hang on. This video contains profanity and hostility from a trans woman. Don't like angry trans girls. Then why click the video? It's literally in the title, you muppet. So what have you said here? Hang on. Didn't Eddie Redmayne recently apologize for taking the role in The Danish Girl? Yeah, I just didn't bother covering that story because there wasn't much to it. It was basically just him going, oh yeah, I shouldn't have took that role. Sorry about that. And that was it. It was like, I would have covered the story, but there wasn't really much of a story to tell. Here we go. This is Looper. Let's watch this. You saw it in the cinema back then. But yeah, like that's not really much of a news story. It's one of those things where like the headline story, person apologizes for mistake. It's the headline is the entire story, and you don't need to look into it any further. Here we go. Let's watch this. This is Looper. Oh, hang on.
I've heard one too many people say that everyone's so offended. Being offended all the time is kinda normal when so many people fancy themselves next George Carlin, but forget that offensive comedy requires you to be offensive and funny. If you're offensive and the joke isn't funny enough to stop your audience being too offended to laugh, you either suck at being a comedian or you suck at being a decent human being. There's really no middle ground there. You're either a flop or a fuckwit. And right now, people are so up and offended because there's way too many of the latter who just don't get that part of comedy, or just use comedy as a Trojan horse of being an utter cockhead, passing off genuine assholery as just a joke. A good offensive comedian is like a terrorist organization. Both of them own up to their fucking bombs.
Neat. Good one. Okay. Lots of comedy apart from slapstick or visual do date things. But I think policing or banning something is really cringe. Here's the thing though, I'm just going to throw this out there right now. Has anyone throughout this entire conversation tonight mentioned anything about banning comedy? This is what's so weird, right? Amid these discussions, and don't get me wrong, there have been a few people when the clothes are released who were like, they should take this down. But like, it was a few fringe voices, honestly. I noticed like a lot of the prominent, there were a couple of people who were like, we should take this down. It wasn't like a huge social movement of let's bring down Chappelle's special. I've never been of the opinion that we should take it down. There should be a disclaimer that it contains transphobic material, but that's about it. You know, which has always been the way that these things work. Like, for example, if you watch a violent movie, there's always been, like, trigger warnings. This movie contains violence or sex scenes or drug use. I don't see why it would be any different, sorry for hitting the mic, when the material in question is particularly offensive to a marginalized group. They should add that kind of warning to this kind of special in that regard. I don't know where, like, this is, yeah, I don't remember if anyone in chat might have mentioned taking the special down or whatever, but that was never really a point of the discussion. And yeah, I don't agree with it, but still, like, it's interesting. Good night, Fox. Have a good one. Actually, that's kind of a good point, Kitten. I don't actually have my pronouns in my bio. My pronouns are she, her. But yeah, like, just like on the surface, Saber, like, I'll get back to the rest of the message in a moment. Whenever it comes to discussing certain types of comedy are really offensive and harmful to certain groups, and we cannot simply dismiss the notion that massively publicizing, say for example, transphobic jokes like this is a harmful thing. Whenever we have that discussion, someone immediately jumps to, well, we shouldn't take things down, we shouldn't censor them. We shouldn't take these things off Netflix. And like, nobody reached that point until someone else jumps in and says it, right? It always, like, there's maybe one or two fringe voices in the discussion who are not getting a lot of attention in the matter, or it's not a part of the discussion at all until someone immediately jumps to the conclusion that everyone else wants to censor it, by virtue of talking about how certain jokes, certain dialogues are harmful. You know, for me, it's not as much a trigger warning, but I want to see equal funding to trans voices as there is to funding transphobic voices. which is a good point. Absolutely. Like, why does Dave Chappelle get to have all these millions to publish these specials where he routinely drags a minority group? Bad faith people always amplify the fringe voices, which is why, just had to answer the door in your PJs and did not give a damn. Sigma Grind said, ugh, get it. Twitter is the worst place for criticism on everything. It really is. It really is. You can't have a proper discourse on Twitter. You're glad your brother and you finally chose to cancel your Netflix about this. You hardly use it anyway, which is fair. I mean, I get it. I've got chocolate stuck in my teeth. I did not cancel my Netflix because it's not mine, it's my mother's, and good luck convincing her to do anything. I honestly, like, if I brought up the fact, oh, you know, here's a reason you should cancel Netflix, to send a message, she wouldn't agree to do it. So I got my shows on there. Especially the treatment of the protest afterwards, exactly. By the way, it is completely ethical to pirate everything on Netflix. Legal? No. Ethical? Yes. But, Nixie, I do want to raise attention, bring attention to your point. Bad faith people always amplify the fringe voices. And particularly, I'm going to relate this back to transphobia generally speaking, especially with regards to J.K. Rowling's recent tirade about the 3 people who protested on Trans Day of Remembrance outside of her landmark fucking mansion because she thinks she got doxxed at a place that is a literal tourist attraction. They take tourist tours by J.K. Rowling's house and point it out to people. That's where the author of Harry Potter lives, innit? They literally point it out to people, and J.K. Rowling thinks she got doxxed. And of course, as usual, in her little Twitter screed that she posted out, I'm so worried, I was so scared about my safety, because these 3 possible trannies were protesting outside my house and posted it on Twitter. I don't know what J.K. Rowling sounds like, I don't give a shit. I don't respect the woman, so I'm not going to treat her with respect. So we're clear. The richest author in the world, for the record. Anyway, the point I want to get to. The bad faith people, the fringe voices. Yes, she lives in an actual castle. There are a number of trolls who will literally go out of their way to make accounts that represent certain minority groups like trans people, and then go and send a bunch of fake death threats to J.K. Rowling, which she then latches onto and uses that to galvanize her base against trans people. So she'll go on about, I received so many death threats, I was legitimately worried for my life. None of those death threats, I guarantee you, the tiniest fraction of them might be actually real. The rest of them are probably Sonic memes telling her to shut the fuck up or die. Like, I do not believe for a second she's receiving that many. I could paper the walls of my house with all these death threats. She has ridiculous security systems, by the way. And that's the thing, right? Is like, she's a bad faith person. Categorically. Joanne Rowling is a bad faith person. She will take the worst of the worst examples she has seen of trans people and use that to paint the picture of all trans people. And because she's got 13.9 million followers, a lot of them TERFs, those TERFs are going to run wild with that shit. And make trans people look even worse. You know? Part of the problem is, excuse me, Netflix downvote system was messed with due to Star Trek Discovery, ironically unavailable now. Wait, what, really? Let's trans Britain and rename it to Britren. You could have tried a bit harder with that one, honestly. There's verified receipts of a few transphobes saying they should all die, but I don't circulate them because all it does is make people afraid. Yeah. Like, literally, you can see legitimate blue checkmark accounts advocating for the death or at least social exclusion of trans people. And make no mistake, right? When someone is advocating for excluding trans people from the spaces they belong in, so for example, the right public toilet that aligns with their gender or whatever else, they are making an effort to push trans people out of social consciousness, out of social visibility. They don't want us out there existing, you know. No, she lives in, Joanne lives in a castle called Killychassie, I think it's called. She lives in 2 different locations in Scotland, because she's got 2 castles, actually. Yeah, if I recall correctly, one of them is Killychassie and the other one is something else. And at least one of them, I think somebody pointed out, one of them's a tour guide location, one of them has got its own Wikipedia page. So... She is of Scottish descent. Her actual, her real surname, I think her family name is it in here or is it somewhere else? I read this somewhere. I read that her the family who owned the castle she owns now, she is descended from that family. Great Britons. There we go. That works. United Queendom, the Princess Isles. Anyway, enough about J.K. Rowling and Dave Chappelle. I'm sick of them. I really am. She was born in England, but of Scottish descent. I wish she'd just shut the fuck up, honestly. Here's a thing. Here's some stuff that we can ramble on about. Because, you know, I'm autistic. And I don't believe for a second that gut bacteria causes autism. And would you look at that? The University of Western Australia published an article that says gut bacteria doesn't cause autism. What a fucking shock. Who would have guessed? This article by Andrew Whitehouse, Bennett Chair of Autism, Telethon Kids Institute and the University of Western Australia, Chloe Yap, MD PhD candidate, the University of Queensland, and Jake Grattan, Senior Research Fellow, Mater Research Institute, the University of Queensland, was originally published in The Conversation on November 12. Just want to bring this up for no reason in particular. There has been much speculation that the community of bacteria living in the gut known as the microbiome may be different among people on the autism spectrum than the wider population. Why? Where the fuck does this come from? This has led some researchers and clinicians to speculate that gut bacteria could cause autism. This eludes all logic. This makes no fucking sense. As someone who's not a scientist, none of these pieces make any fucking sense. But our new research published today in the journal Cell turns this theory on its head. Rather than differences in gut bacteria influencing brain development, our research suggests changes in gut bacteria are driven by restricted diets or picky eating. Restricted diets are more common among children with autism because of their sensory sensitivities and restricted and repetitive interests. Some may have strong preference for a select few foods, while others find some flavors, smells, or textures unpleasant or off-putting. What's the theory? You may have heard claims that the microbiome is related to autism. It may have a causal role, or microbiome therapies can alter autistic behaviors. So child abuse, basically. If you were to give your kid microbiome therapies. Yeah, autism is caused by birth. Interest in autism gut microbiome first came from observations. People on the autism spectrum are more likely to experience gut problems such as constipation and diarrhea. Further studies seem to suggest children on the autism spectrum had different combinations of bacteria living in their gut. These intriguing relationships inspired studies of mice and rats, some of which indicated the microbiome may cause differences in behavior, but the excitement has been misguided. Excitement? Assessing the evidence. Weighing up all the findings, the evidence linking the microbiome to autism is highly inconsistent, and many studies have significant problems with their scientific design. There are also problems in relating mouse studies to humans because autism does not exist in mice. Despite the uncertainty in the science, the hype around the microbiome and autism has continued to gather momentum. Just to interject here, who has watched H. Bomber Guy's video on vaccines, which goes really deep into the whole thing about like the autism causes vaccines. Vaccines cause autism thing and the whole Andrew Wakefield debacle. Go watch that if you have not watched it. It's a tremendous video. Absolutely tremendous. A little bit traumatic at points because it refers to quite literal child abuse. in the name of science. Out of this momentum emerged speculative therapies claiming to support children with autism by altering the microbiome, including fecal microbiota transfers and diet therapies. These therapies were long on hope but short on evidence for efficacy and safety, and came with their own risks and substantial costs. What our study did. We worked with the Australian Autism Biobank, which includes extensive clinical and biological data from children on the autism spectrum and their families, as well as the Queensland Twin Adolescent Brain Project. We compared microbial DNA from stool samples of 99 children on the autism spectrum to 2 groups of non-autistic children, 51 of their siblings, and 97 unrelated children. We also looked at clinical, family, and lifestyle information, including about the child's diet, for a comprehensive broad look at factors that may contribute to the microbiome. What we found? We found no evidence for a relationship between autism and the measures of the microbiome as a whole, or with microbiome diversity. Only one bacterial species out of more than 600 showed an association with autism. We found no evidence for other bacterial groups that have previously been reported in autism, for example, Prevotella. Instead, we found children on the autism spectrum are more likely to be picky eaters, consistent with reports from earlier studies, and this was related to particular traits associated with autism, such as restricted interests and sensory activity. We also found pickier eaters tend to have a less diverse microbiome and runnier, more diarrhea-like stool. I don't know what it is, but whenever I see like these clinical definitions of shit, I have a little giggle, because I'm like, they're talking about crap, aren't they? We've also known for some time children on the autism spectrum are more likely to have gastrointestinal issues such as constipation, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. The genetic information told a similar story. Autism and restricted interests corresponded to a less diverse diet, but not directly with the microbiome. These genetic data are critical because they rule out other environmental factors that may have influenced the finding. Overall, our results did not support the popular view that gut microbes cause autism. What we propose instead is strikingly simple. Autism-related traits and preferences are associated with less diverse diet, leading to less diverse microbiome and runnier stool. What do our findings mean? Our findings have important implications for the autism community. First, microbiome interventions for autism, such as fecal microbiota implants, should be viewed with caution. Our findings suggest they are unlikely to be effective and may do more harm than good. Our study also draws attention to the importance of diet for children on the autism spectrum. Poor diet in children and young people is a major public health concern in Australia, with important implications for their well-being, development, and health conditions such as obesity. We need to do more to support families at mealtimes, in particular for families with autistic children, rather than resorting to fad therapies that may do more harm than good. Yeah, there we go. So shut the fuck up about autism. Proven wrong. There you go. Microbiome is such a great field and with a lot of potential. Well, there we go. Oh, God, I'm tired. Why am I tired? What is the efficacy of aborting children because you know they will have some sort of severe illness of some sort? I mean, that's basically eugenics. So, I don't know. I mean, on an individual level, I don't know. But the issue, like, are they tracking for that kind of stuff? Here's what I'm curious about. Are they tracking that kind of information now? Are we able to detect potential neurological defects in the womb, right? Are we able to do that? And is it medically ethical to give that information to potential parents, right? I'm just, hang on a second. Being this hot can take a lot out of us. It really can. So can having lashes that don't stay stuck on. That's pretty fucking exhausting. Stay on my eyelids, you fuckwits. Anyway. I think most ahead of time calls are for physical deformities. Yeah, I think the major issue with, putting forth the perspective that it should be okay to abort a child who is potentially autistic or whatever. Yeah, that just leads us down the dangerous route of eugenics. Which means let's eliminate the undesirables before they can be born, sort of thing. Guess why I was always so well rested. Also, if biology keeps going at the rate it is, we'll be able to modify children in utero, which again seems like a dangerous game to play. I am not on the side of that. It's okay for a pregnant person to get an abortion for any reason. I mean, that too. True. Like, if the person in question wants to have an abortion, they should be allowed to have an abortion. But yeah, the moment that they start going down that road of, like, I don't know, how do you describe it? Excuse me. Let's legalize abortions already. I mean, worldwide, yes, they're already legalized in a lot of places. The problem is the fact that there are people who want to illegalize them, who want to criminalize abortions, which does more harm than good. You know. Having Gattaca flashbacks. What's Gattaca about? What sucks is the government will rarely pay for sufficient care for badly disabled folks. Yeah, true. Some people have to sacrifice the rest of their entire lives to take care of their children who are never able to take care of themselves. Abortions are legal in the civilized world. Stares at Texas. You don't want to spoil Gattaca. I mean, fair. Not in Germany, only decriminalized, but not to be advertised. That's interesting. Which means not to be mentioned by the few doctors who perform them. Okay. Has Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke. Oh, and Jude Law. I've heard of it. I've just never seen it. Pardon? Okay. We should watch it sometime. That's why I love trans women. Trabs women? Trabs women? Can't have autistic offspring. Fucking hell. I feel like we're traversing a very dangerous territory here. Someone could be watching waiting to clip me out of context. Because I think, like, logically speaking, like, if we bring it back to the logic and rationality bullshit from before, there's a lot of people who would look at the argument of some people have to sacrifice the rest of their entire lives to take care of children who are never able to take care of themselves. And they'll say that's a justification for we should abort every child that we can determine in utero is going to have some horrendous birth defect that's going to lead to those sort of circumstances. But the problem is the moment you implement those kinds of things, it's, like I mentioned before, it's a slippery slope to much more dangerous things. You know, it's, you start with, oh, this child, and this is the problem, like, this is what happens with autistic kids, right, is, and has been for a while, a lot of people, a lot of rhetoric around autistic children has been, oh my god, this child is so severely autistic, all the people around that child are suffering so bad. Like, poor diddums, the neurotypical person has to put up with the neurodivergent person, right? So, like, the unfortunate debate here, and I think categorically it's a debate of eugenics, which is bad. Eugenics is bad. Let's clarify that right now. Is that the moment you say something like, oh, okay, so let's detect birth defects in the womb, and then, like, you could make the argument of, like, okay, you can detect that this thing is going to happen to the child, this particular birth defect, whatever it is, severe autism, let's say. And then leave it up to the parent to decide if they want to have the child or not. You know, that's still a dangerous territory to traverse. But on the same token, people should be allowed to abort their child for whatever reason. I just worry that, like, if they start, I don't know, have they developed the technology personally to detect these kind of things in advance? I think, like, this is the issue. Is, like, some of these things would not necessarily show up in utero scans. Moralistic human-controlled evolution, yeah. It's been talked about that it might be possible to expose fetuses to certain things to give them super immune systems, but the problem is that if some people have super immunity and some don't, super diseases will mutate in the special babies and wreak havoc on the people who didn't get that. Well, yeah. Moralistic human-controlled evolution / genocide, basically. It's a real issue for parents. My cousin and his family moved to a larger city in decent part because the government support they could get there for their non-verbal autistic son is so much better. Which, yeah, this is a particularly tricky discussion to have. You know, I can only imagine how it would feel to the autistic kid being talked about. Is also the point of contention. Don't know how they would detect things beyond physical problems with accuracy. That's what I was going to say, is like, there are a lot of issues that I just don't think you would... A lot of the issues that people would be worried about, it's like, what if they detect this particular thing in the womb? And I just think there's just no reasonable way to detect certain things. If everyone can have access to that choice, people will still be split. It's a bit interesting because how do you say his name? How do you say their name? Revolves around CRISPR. Oh, yeah. Because most non-verbal folks say can still understand to a fair degree, sometimes a high degree, what's going on. Cuz gesagt, I don't know. I think I know what you mean, though, yeah. I've heard of CRISPR. So just advising caution. On what? Oh, yeah, true. On the trans women thing. CRISPR sounds like a retcon Dragon Ball Z villain. Sending you a fitness-related question on Messenger. You're off to have a bath. Rightio, Izzy. Sounds good. You might be able to detect some things, but at much too late in the pregnancy. Possibly. Yeah, which would be even worse. Even worse. Crispy. Because late-stage pregnancies, late-stage abortions come with a lot of... a lot of ethical complications. You know, I'm personally of the belief that, which is the reason why we shouldn't even look. Well, yeah, exactly. The reason why we shouldn't even look. You know, determine what the kid's sex is going to be if you want, but don't go looking for stuff like that when they're about to pop out any minute. Most people aren't found to be autistic until several years old. Yeah, because it's an observation of behaviors, right? And what really needs to be done in that regard is better support for the people who are taking care of those children. Better options for those parents and carers and things like that. Rather than looking for a way to eliminate it. Rather than trying to look for a cure for autism and all that sort of thing. Autistic is just one example. What if a baby was paralyzed from the neck down and you knew ahead of time? Diagnosed autistic, age 33. Let's go. There you go. I was diagnosed at like 11 or 12, I think. We'll be able to fix single gene mutations that drastically shorten life without people using it as an excuse to do eugenics. And this is why, this is a very tense area. It's like, how do you have this discussion? I mean, short of, we could look at the video if you want. We've watched Stacked in the past. Let me find it. Kurzgesagt. In a nutshell. We should watch it. We should have a look. Have you got the link to it? Might be better than me trying to explain it because I feel like I'm tiptoeing around a really dangerous discussion. Like, my mindset about this is like, okay, obviously there are things that dramatically affect people's lives. Like was mentioned, you know, if a baby was paralyzed from the neck down and you knew ahead of time, right? That sounds like a pretty awful thing. And there are many other situations that would lead to a child having a pretty damaged life, right? As a result of a birth defect. But then if we start exploring, if we start exploring the technology to eliminate those things in utero, that does sound like a particularly volatile road to traverse. Yeah, head over to Coffee and give me money so I can go to Melbourne. Send me money to go to Melbourne, please. $200. Let's go. Or subscribe. Have we had a sub tonight? I don't think we have. Like, it doesn't say it there, but I think that the daily sub goal doesn't always work for whatever reason. A lot of the vid is sciencey stuff, so maybe just skip around. It's 16 minutes. It's okay. What's in Melbourne? Friends. I have friends in Melbourne. Speaking of which, you bought some action figures for your toy collection. It's one of your special interests. Aww. Case of your mum heard when she was pregnant with me, where a woman at that doctor's office found her developing baby was developing without a head or brain. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, yeah, that's probably a valid reason at that point. Anywho, I mean, there are any number of valid reasons to abort a child, let's be honest.
Imagine you were alive back in the 1980s and were told that computers would soon take over everything, from shopping to dating and the stock market. That billions of people would be connected via a kind of web. That you would own a handheld device orders of magnitude more powerful than supercomputers. It would seem absurd, but then all of it happened. Science fiction became our reality, and we don't even think about it. We're at a similar point today.
I've only watched a few Kurzgesagt videos. They all seem pretty well produced, though.
Today with genetic engineering.
You were alive in the 80s, so was
let's
I.
talk about it.
Like the last
where it came from, what we're doing right now, and about a recent breakthrough that will change how we live and what we perceive as normal forever. Humans have been engineering life for thousands of years. Through selective breeding, we strengthened useful traits in plants and animals. We became very good at this, but never truly understood how it worked. until we discovered the code of life, deoxyribonucleic acid.
Hey, I know
DNA,
that word.
a complex molecule
I
that
did a
guides
bit
the
of
growth,
biology.
development, function, and reproduction of everything alive. Information is encoded in
Oh,
the
I didn't
structure.
know this. They're funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That's why they have the production value. They're also a vehicle for propaganda. Well, yeah. Of course, Clara loves this stuff. You owned that Game Boy model. I don't think I ever owned a Game Boy. Did I ever own a Game Boy? I definitely owned a DS and a 3DS. But I don't think I ever owned a Game Boy. Weird. Anyway.
Of the molecule. 4 nucleotides are paired and make up a code that carries instructions.
I really should go back to biology. Honestly. I'm looking at courses for sociology for next semester. One of which was the dreaded debate subject. Legitimately, one of the courses I could take for my next semester is debate. Something to do with debate. Foundations of debate. Or I can't remember what it is. It's like, do I really want to get into that shit? I should just go back to doing a biological science degree.
Change the instructions,
But I can't exactly just swap my bachelor's on a whim.
and you change the being carrying it. As soon as DNA was discovered, people tried to tinker with it. In the 1960s, scientists bombarded plants with radiation to cause random mutations in the genetic code. The idea was to get a useful plant variation by pure chance. Sometimes it actually worked too. In the 70s, scientists inserted DNA snippets into bacteria, plants, and animals to study and modify them for research, medicine, agriculture, and for fun. The earliest genetically modified animal was born in 1974, making mice a standard tool for research, saving millions of lives. In the 80s, we got commercial. The first patent was given for a microbe engineered to absorb oil. Today, we produce many chemicals by means of engineered life, like life-saving clotting factors, growth hormones, and insulin, all things we had to harvest from the organs of animals before that. The first food modified in the lab went on sale in 1994, the Flavor Saver tomato, a tomato given a much longer shelf life via an extra gene that suppressed the buildup of a rotting enzyme. But GM food and the controversy surrounding them deserve a video of their own. In the 1990s, there was also a brief foray into human engineering. To treat maternal infertility, babies were made that carried genetic information from 3 humans, making them the first humans ever to have 3 genetic parents. Today, there are super-muscled pigs, fast-growing salmon, featherless chickens, and see-through frogs.
Nice.
On the fun side, we made things glow in the dark. Fluorescent zebrafish are available for as little as $10. All of this is already very impressive, but until recently, gene editing was extremely expensive, complicated, and took a long time to do. This has now changed with a revolutionary new technology now entering the stage: CRISPR. Overnight, the costs of engineering have shrunk by 99%. Instead of a year, it takes a few weeks to conduct experiments, and basically everybody with a lab can do it.
Rick and Morty reference.
It's hard to get across how big a technical revolution CRISPR is. It literally has the potential to change humanity forever. Why did this sudden revolution happen, and how does it work? Bacteria and viruses have been fighting since the dawn of life. So-called bacteriophages or phages hunt bacteria. In the ocean, phages kill 40% of them every single day. Phages do this by inserting their own genetic code into the bacteria and taking them over to use them as factories. The bacteria try to resist, but fail most of the time because their protection tools are too weak. But sometimes bacteria survive an attack. Only if they do so can they activate their most effective antivirus system. They save a part of the virus DNA in their own genetic code in a DNA archive called CRISPR. Here, it's stored safely until it's needed. When the virus attacks again, the bacterium quickly makes an RNA copy from the DNA archive and arms a secret weapon, a protein called Cas9. The protein now scans the bacterium's insides for signs of the virus invader by comparing every bit of DNA it finds to the sample from the archive.
Hello, fellow kid.
When it finds a 100% perfect match, it's activated and cuts out the virus DNA, making it useless, protecting the bacterium against the attack.
Hello,
What's special is that Cas9 is very precise, almost like a DNA surgeon. The revolution began when scientists figured out that the CRISPR system is programmable. You can just give it a copy of DNA you want to modify and put the system into a living cell. If the old techniques of genetic manipulation were like a map, CRISPR is like a GPS system. Aside from being precise, cheap and easy, CRISPR offers the ability to edit live cells, to switch genes on and off, and target and study particular DNA sequences. It also works for every type of cell, microorganisms, plants, animals or humans. But despite the revolution CRISPR is for science, it's still just a first-generation tool. More precise tools are already being created and used as we speak.
That's scary and cool at the same time. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, seems like there's a lot of good potential applications here, but if science has taught us anything, or at least the history of science has taught us anything, developing these kind of tools will inevitably lead to some pretty scary ends, which is what I think a lot of us have to worry about. Science bad? Science not bad. It's not bad. I just think, unfortunately, yeah, expect the worst. There's a lot of reasons to be skeptical. Science good.
In 2015, scientists used CRISPR to cut the HIV virus out of living cells from patients in the lab, proving that it was possible. Only about a year later, they carried out a larger-scale project with rats that had the HIV virus in basically all of their...
Yeah, science good, politicians bad. I mean, that's the thing, is like, scientists can develop really good tools, but if the people in charge decide to use those tools for vile ends, the people with a lot of power, there's little the normies like us can do to stop them, and that's routinely proven to be the case. Science under capitalism kind of sucks, it does. You think you're lost in this video.
Body cells. By simply injecting CRISPR into the rats' tails, they were able to remove more than 50% of the virus from cells all over the body. In a few decades, a CRISPR therapy might cure HIV. And other retroviruses, viruses that hide inside human DNA like herpes,
when are we getting to the flesh blob from Akira? Spoilers!
Could be eradicated this way.
I've seen the clip.
CRISPR could also defeat one of our worst enemies, cancer. Cancer occurs when cells refuse to die and keep multiplying while concealing themselves from the immune system. CRISPR gives us the means to edit your immune cells and make them better cancer hunters. Getting rid of cancer might eventually mean getting just a couple of injections of a few thousand of your own cells that have been engineered in the lab to heal you for good. The first clinical trial for a CRISPR cancer treatment on human patients was approved in early 2016 in the US. Not even a month later, Chinese scientists announced that they would treat lung cancer patients with immune cells modified with CRISPR in August 2016. Things are picking up pace quickly.
Cancer,
and then there are genetic diseases. There are thousands of them, and they range from mildly annoying to deadly or entail decades of suffering. With a powerful tool like CRISPR, we may be able to end this. Over 3,000 genetic diseases are caused by a single incorrect letter in your DNA. We are already building a modified version of Cas9 that is made to change just a single letter, fixing the disease in the cell. In a decade or two, we could possibly cure thousands of diseases forever.
If we survive that long.
But all of these medical applications have one thing in common. They are limited to the individual and die with them, except if you use them on reproductive cells or very early embryos. But CRISPR can and probably will be used for much more. The creation of modified humans, designer babies, and will mean gradual but irreversible changes to the human gene pool.
Yeah, this is where it's getting uncomfortable. Can they edit out my Y chromosome? This is where it gets yeah, a little bit like ooh, designer babies. Oh my god, can we stop?
The means to edit the genome of a human embryo already exist, though the technology is still in its early stages. But it has already been attempted twice. In 2015 and 2016, Chinese scientists experimented with human embryos and were partially successful on their second attempt. They showed the enormous challenges we still face in gene editing embryos, but
why is the music vaguely reminiscent of Gwyn's theme from Dark Souls?
Also that scientists are working on solving them. This is like the computer in the 70s. There will be better computers.
How do I get a computer that looks like that? That's base.
This is like the computer in the 70s.
Look at that. I want that machine there on the right. Look at that. How do I get that gaming rig? That looks badass. BioShock build.
will be better computers. Regardless of your personal take on genetic engineering, it will affect you. Modified humans could alter the genome of our entire species because their engineered traits will be passed on to their children and could spread over generations, slowly modifying the whole gene pool of humanity. It will start slowly. The first designer babies will not be overly designed. It's most likely that they will be created to eliminate a deadly genetic disease running in a family. As the technology progresses and gets more refined, more and more people may argue that not using genetic modification is unethical because it condemns children to preventable suffering and death and denies them the cure. But as soon as the first engineered kid is born, a door is opened that can't be closed anymore. Early on, vanity traits will mostly be left alone.
Can make something like that, but how much do you want to pay for it? I'm literally trying to raise funds to go to Melbourne. I can't afford a new gaming rig. Someone give me money so I can go on a little holiday for a few days later this year. Oh, okay, it stopped for a second.
But as genetic modification becomes more accepted and our knowledge of our genetic code enhances, the temptation will grow. If you make your offspring immune to Alzheimer, why not also give them an enhanced metabolism? Why not throw in perfect eyesight? How about
Gonna go shower radio, babe.
height or muscular structure? Full hair? How about giving your
Is that Goku here?
child the gift of extraordinary intelligence? Huge changes.
Yeah, curing disease is 100% good. Like, definitely we want people to live as comfortably as humanly possible, right? And that means eliminating diseases that make people live honestly crippling, crushing lives, you know, just in perpetual discomfort, start to finish. We want to get rid of those kind of things. The shading on the shorts looks like a dick. Holy shit, this dude's packing a rager. Holy fuck.
Are made as a result of the personal decisions of millions.
Oh my god, they included the tail. They made the Dragon Ball reference and they included the tail. Which, by the way, for a little bit of Dragon Ball lore here, by the time Goku could go Super Saiyan, he lost his tail. So that's technically lore inaccurate. That's canon inaccurate.
Of individuals that accumulate. This is a slippery slope. Modified humans could become the new standard. But as engineering becomes...
And I mean, we already have, like, you don't even need to genetically modify humans to get the kind of, what's it called? The kind of inequality that we have in society today. All you need to do is be born rich, you know? So you add being born rich and then genetically engineered baby on top of that, and we're going to end up with a really scary mix of things. Not giving people voluntary control of their endorphin production is cruel. Between schooling and affording healthy diets and personal trainers...
becomes more normal and our knowledge improves, we could solve...
To shower with her. No, I had a shower earlier. I'm not doing it again. Don't shower twice in one day.
The single biggest mortality risk factor, aging. 2/3 of the 150,000 people who die today will die of age-related causes. Currently, we think aging is caused by the accumulation of damage to our cells, like DNA breaks and the systems responsible for fixing those wearing off over time. But there are also genes that directly affect aging. A combination of genetic engineering and other therapy could stop or slow down aging, maybe even reverse it. We know from nature that there are animals
Hey, look, it's Jordan Peterson.
immune to aging. Maybe we could even borrow a few genes for ourselves. Some scientists even think biological aging could be something that eventually just stops being a thing. We would still die at some point, but instead of doing so in hospitals at age 90, we might be able to spend a few thousand years with our loved ones.
Good God, that sounds fucking awful. No way.
Research into this is in its infancy. And many scientists are rightly skeptical about the end of aging. The
You think I want to spend thousands of years with these people? Fuck off.
challenges are enormous, and maybe it is unachievable. But it is conceivable that people alive today might be the first to profit from effective anti-aging therapy. All we might need is for someone to convince a smart billionaire to make it their next problem to solve. On a bigger scale, we certainly could solve many problems by having a modified population. Engineered humans might be better equipped to cope with high-energy food, eliminating many diseases of civilization like
Why the fuck is that hang on.
obesity. To cope with high-energy food,
Like, why has this dude got such massive tits? What's with the tits? I'm confused. Why Why does he have such enormous breasts?
The Rogue Room appreciates your recommendation.
Inclining Prune, thank you for the host. Those are not pecs. Okay, those are not pectorals. Those are not shoulders. Those are boobs. Those are breasts. Okay? Yeah, estrogen in the burgers. The Beyond Burgers have got estrogen in them. Yeah, I'm jealous too.
Eliminating many diseases of civilization like obesity.
Pre-op transmit.
In possession of a modified immune system with a library of potential threats, we might become immune to most diseases that haunt us today. Even further into the future, we could engineer humans to be equipped for extended space travel.
Why are they all ubermensch with the whole blonde hair thing? What's going on here? What's the message they're trying to send with this video?
And to cope with different conditions on other planets, which would be extremely helpful in keeping us alive in our hostile universe.
Phytoestrogen.
Still, a few major challenges await us, some technological, some ethical. Many of you watching will feel uncomfortable.
Blonde hair is an adaptation for space travel. Total Recall reference? Could be.
And fear that we will create a world in which we will reject non-perfect humans
don't make the Harry Potter reference. Can we please not?
select features and qualities
I really just hope Harry Potter references just drop out of social consciousness so desperately. It doesn't deserve it.
based on our idea of what's healthy.
Sorry to whinge, but like,
The
fuck
thing
Harry
is,
Potter
we are
references.
already living in this world. Tests for dozens of genetic diseases or complications have become standard for pregnant women in much of the world. Often the mere
This
suspicion
was made before the whole JKR turf arc. Okay, fine. Still, Harry Potter was cringe back when this was made.
of a genetic defect can lead to the end of a pregnancy.
Apart from the fact that wizards shit themselves and magic it away. Yeah, you're allowed to... Can you imagine, like, obviously, wizards shitting, right? The idea of wizards just shitting and magicking it away. Quite frankly, like, you see this demonstrated in the books and the movies, that wizards have trouble developing the capacity to cast, you know, the most basic spells in the first place. And they only start learning to do that when they're like 11 years of age, at least according to like Hogwarts or whatever. I don't know about the other countries' wizarding schools. But like, how much time do they spend learning the away with you shit spell? Like, how long do they train on that one is what I want to know. How many kids are like aged 15 or 16 walking around Hogwarts before they had toilets with just shit-filled britches because they couldn't figure the spell out? I'm just curious. I'm just asking questions. Kids died in Hogwarts because they couldn't wipe their own ass.
Take Down syndrome, for example, one of the most common genetic defects. In Europe, about 92% of all pregnancies where it's detected are terminated.
Ma, got a dump in me trousers. Cast your magic and take it away. Huge basement of dead kids. Oh, yeah, there is.
The decision to terminate a pregnancy is incredibly personal, but it's important to acknowledge the reality that we are pre-selecting humans based on medical conditions. There is also no use in pretending this will change, so we have to act carefully and respectfully as we advance the technology and can make more and more selections. But none of this will happen soon. As powerful as CRISPR is, and it is, it's not infallible yet.
Duh.
Wrong edits still happen, as well as unknown errors that can occur anywhere in the DNA and might go unnoticed. The gene edit might achieve the desired result, disabling a disease, but also might accidentally trigger unwanted changes. We just don't know enough yet about the complex interplay of our genes to avoid unpredictable consequences. Working on accuracy and monitoring methods is a major concern as the first human trials begin. And since we've discussed a possible positive future, there are darker visions too. Imagine what a state like North Korea could do if they embraced genetic engineering. Could a state cement its rule forever by forcing gene editing on their subjects? What would stop a totalitarian regime from engineering an army of modified super soldiers? It is doable in theory.
Dude's pulling it with his fucking teeth.
Scenarios like this one are far, far off into the future, if they ever become possible at all.
In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only Warhammer 40,000. Ricky Morty, yes. Yeah, there's a bunch of Rick and Morty references in this. When you were born in 94, the non-invasive ultrasound method to detect genital development in utero was just new. Parents chose not to be told my results as it didn't matter to them. When I was born, my first jumper was pink accordingly. Which, honestly, like, that just speaks to, like, how obvious it is that gender is socially constructed. Like, parents will literally go find out what their child is going to be born as and plan according to social conventions that dictate these things are male and these things are female. And people still have the audacity to just go, oh, but by the way, your gender is biological.
But the basic proof of concept for genetic engineering like this already exists today. The technology really is that powerful. While this might be a tempting reason to ban genetic editing and related research, that would certainly be a mistake.
By the way,
Banning human genetic engineering
fully.
would only lead to the science wandering off to a place with jurisdiction and rules that we're uncomfortable with. Only by participating can we make sure that further research is guided by caution, reason, oversight, and transparency.
Sissy genital horoscope. By the way, you said when you were born in 94, so that technology didn't exist when I was around. I was born in 89. Genetic engineering on the
Do you feel
blockchain.
uncomfortable now? Most of us have something wrong with them. In the future that lies ahead of us, would we have been allowed to exist? The technology is certainly a bit scary, but we have a lot to gain, and genetic engineering might just be a step in the natural evolution of intelligent species in the universe. We might
How am I
end
so old?
disease.
The wonderful power of Maybelline. I wear makeup.
We could
Yeah, they
extend
live
our
reference.
life
I've got to actually watch that. I've seen clips of it. It seems like a good movie.
expectancy by centuries and travel to the stars.
Do we have to?
There's no need to think small when it comes to this topic. Whatever your opinion on genetic engineering, the future is approaching no matter what. What has been insane science fiction is about to become our new reality. A reality full of opportunities and challenges.
I'll rep Maybelline if they pay me.
Videos like this will
There we go. We're not giving you your Patreon plug. I'm sorry. I'm stealing your content and then I'm running away with it. You're not allowed to have a plug on my stream. Go away. There we go. So there's a little bit of information on that subject. Which, yeah, like realistically speaking, I'm still sort of terrified at the prospect. Namely at the prospect of the science being used incorrectly. But this is the problem, is like, you gotta figure what do we define as correct. But you know what I mean. You know, I don't want people using it to make super soldiers and shit like that. Curing cancer would be dope. Hell yeah. Curing diseases that would cause a child to grow up having a cripplingly painful life. Like, if we could eliminate that shit, yeah, fine, go ahead. That sounds awesome. But yeah, it has a lot of potential for misuse. They are positioning it as inevitable that it will be everywhere. Tech like chemical and biological warfare and nukes have been regulated for 100 years and rarely used. That's a good point. It's a good point. Make super femmes, not super soldiers. Exactly. Keep getting a bubble in my throat, and when I get that, I begin to sound masculine. I fucking hate it. God, I hate it. One of the things I loathe the most about being a transgender woman, a transgender woman, transgender wimpin, is that I have to regulate my voice, and I don't even do it that well. And I notice every little flaw. It's a fucking pain in the ass. Can we genetically modify my voice to not sound like a man? Is that possible? Nuclear technology is everywhere. Seems like a weird stance. What we need is nuclear power, though. Anyway. That's something. We can get rid of the gut bacteria causing autism thing. I can talk with a voice coach. There's the bubble again. Yeah, but who has the time or money for that shit? I do sound feminine? Please explain how. Sorry, dysphoria moment. There are surgeries to snap your cords. What does that mean? What does snap your cords mean? I mean, I am a woman. And I've heard cis women who sound more masculine than me, honestly, which is strange. It's honestly just social expectations of people that cause me to look at myself through a certain lens, like with most women in society, honestly. they're held up to an impossible standard. A mirror is held up to them, and well, not a mirror really. An image is constantly held up to so many women in society, and you are told this is how you should present. If you want to be seen as a real woman, you should have this particular presentation. You should sound this way. You should walk this way. You should do this and that. Excuse me. Husky sounding cis women deaf help with your dysphoria. Well, that's good. There was that woman on TikTok who was going on about how she would face harassment for her really deep voice, and she had a really deep voice. Like, her voice sounded a little bit like this, like really deep. And she caught shit for it. People were saying she was trans as an insult. And all that sort of thing. Have one of the least grating voices in Australia. My cis aunt sounds way more masculine. Oh, I appreciate that. You hear my voice, you recognize it as Abby's voice. No, Abby is a girl. Voice sounds feminine in my brain by default as a result. Well, that's fair. That's how I am with most people's pronouns, honestly. Like, it's strange to me. Like, if I know someone is trans and I'm talking about them, if I know what their pronouns are, it just snaps. And the only time I've had trouble with a person's pronouns are if they are the kind of person who might change their pronouns regularly, or if they have neo-pronouns that I'm not familiar with. Want to hear something funny? I'm 6'2" and have a deep voice, but I want to be even taller and sound like James Earl Jones. Yay, toxic masculinity! Which is weird because, like, people over 6'2", like, the taller a person gets, it becomes rarer and rarer, you know. Lunchtime, Radio Doom, have a good lunch. Let me come back a bit. So hang on, what you said to Max. For most of human history, people died at 30, so living to 100 now is down to our science. Well, yeah, I think what Kibia said, this isn't accurate. The average lifespan is tilted by the large infant mortality rate, yeah. Yeah, that's always been a weird thing. Like, people used to say, so like the average lifespan, but what people were thinking was the sentiment there of like people dying at 30 all the time, which wasn't really happening. It was that there were a lot of kids who, and like this is why we have infant inoculations and childhood inoculations, because there were so many diseases that would affect everyone, generally speaking, but an adult could reasonably expect to live through it with some pretty painful illness symptoms. But if a child got it, and you know, children need parents, unfortunately, so if their parent gets sick, the child gets the illness, the child dies, so there was huge amounts of infant mortality. Regrettably, which is kind of horrible, which has skewed those particular things, you know. Your mum and dad think you need help because you love to dress in female clothes. What kind of help? You know. The only people who have trouble changing pronouns are the ones you can't conceptualize others outside of their conceived gender of them. Say again? I'm confused. Like that song Automatic from the Pointer Sisters, I'll have to listen to it. Thought the singer was a guy who sang it, ends up being a woman. Like that, I can never remember the name of this song or the singer, but the one that's like, you've got a fast car. We could take it anywhere. I don't know. Always thought that was a man, that's a woman. Help picking out clothes? I hope so. Do you need help picking out clothes? Because that would be cute. I like to imagine that scenario. I mean, if I had come out as a trans... I feel like, here's the thing, let's just do a little bit of reassuring chat, because I just had a bit of dysphoria chat. I can imagine, you know, like I've trashed my mum a few times for the fact that she would defend J.K. Rowling to my face. But I reckon if I did come out when I was 15, when I first had my big gender dysphoria break, my first thought of transition, I reckon she would have taken me clothes shopping, and it would have been cute. Tracy Chapman, Fast Car. Yes, I can never remember the name of that song. I've heard it so many times. You know the song. Everyone knows the song. I can never remember the artist's name or the song title. It's weird. You already look like you want to, but you keep getting bombarded with the idea that it's just not good enough. Do you have bigorexia by any chance? Are you the kind of person who looks at yourself... Well, I mean, bigorexia is specifically regarding, like, muscularity. But do you find you are faced with that particular kind of situation where, like, you're not... I guess, like, men and women alike are subjected to socially conventional standards of attraction, right? So, or physical attractiveness, right? So, as a result, a lot of us develop a complex about, like... how we look. And to that end, you know, we look at pictures of what the ideal person of our gender is. And if we don't match that descriptor, if we don't match that outline, then we develop issues. We develop mental issues around it. It's the whole reason that when I visited a friend of mine recently, I went with her to the plastic surgery clinic because she was getting needles stuck in her face to like pull lines taut, so she didn't have like crow's feet or something. I don't know. She spent $3,000 to have her face just pulled. I'm like, okay. Anyway. Going to a physical therapy. Physical therapy, like... What kind of physical therapy are we talking about? You like your vocal pitch, you just need more feminine tones and inflections. It's a tricky thing, isn't it? I definitely know about trach shapes being bad. Glad to know that vocal femme surgery is getting way better. I mean, if by the time I can afford it, the surgery's good, then I might get it. Who knows? I feel like a lot of people use pronouns out of respect for the other person and not because they actually get in their head that that person is the actual for real gender they say they are. That's why cis people don't ever have problems remembering cis people's pronouns, because it's not about respect. It's because they genuinely see cis people as their gender, yeah. And like, I think there are legitimately... I use a person's pronouns not out of respect for the other person, but because I know those pronouns belong to that person. But there are a lot of people who do the whole respect for the other person thing as long as they're in the room or something. And then, but they don't really like, they might still see the other person as, like say, they might see a trans woman as a man or whatever. So as you post-therapy, you're not going to get any more coherent than this. What is that emo, by the way? Who's that emo from? What's the safe word? Okay. People get the most potent toxin we've ever found in their faces to kill some nerves to have less wrinkles. True. Yeah, like that's. I don't think she got Botox. I forget what she said. She had a thread pull. What's a thread pull? No, that's. No. Thread pull. Surgery. Thread lift. She had a thread lift. Everything you want to know about a thread lift procedure. Thread lift procedure is a minimally invasive alternative to facelift surgery. Thread lifts claim to tighten your skin by inserting medical grade thread material into your face and then pulling your skin up by tightening the thread. Oh! She had this done to her face. What the fuck? Yeah, dough is it's. Yeah. And I mentioned this before, and I don't know if I'm like... I still feel strange, like kind of addressing this. I've mentioned a couple of times. But like... I forget where did I post this? On the Twitter app. That my pronouns, if it was socially palatable to do so, my pronouns might actually be it's rather than she, her. Because generally speaking, in a social sense, in a social context, most people are going to refer to someone as he or she, right? And they is like only if people are aware of non-binary identities, right? Although generally speaking, like if I don't know someone's gender, I'm going to refer to them as they. But yeah, like as it stands right now, people do not have the broader social consciousness to refer to a person as it. And in some ways, like I look at it and I'm like, I look at it as in the pronoun, but I also just look at the situation. And I think to myself, like, it kind of fits. It would kind of work in a way, but it's also socially alienating myself further, which I'm not entirely a fan of. Don't know if anyone here remembers, but in an earlier stream, I had to get calmed down from an anxiety attack after seeing a pic of someone with huge genitals. Felt so terrible about your own body. Sorry. I thought I read that you felt so terrible you left your own body. Not bothered by it now, though. Guys, Mr. Christopher, the partner of AMP, the host of What's the Safe Word, an educational YouTube channel about kinks and fetishes. Oh, I see. I expect that most people who I'm familiar with on social media would respect it's, I mean, like, you folks would respect if I went by its pronouns, but, like, it's not really something I'm strongly considering at the time You know, I am just a woman at the end of the day. I'm just a trans woman at the end of the day. How about being bi-gender? It depends what that means in this specific context. Your sexologists both straight up refer to their years-long patients by dead names, wrong pronouns, and with that man and such. Like, I was in the waiting room and this girl came in. I thought she was cis and was there because orgasms or something. Then she went to the toilet, and while they were looking for Mr. Surname, is he not here? That's so grim. You would think they would have the decency to refer to a person by their actual name and their actual pronouns. And no, I'm not going to refer to it as like their dead name and their preferred pronouns. No, you refer to people by their actual name and actual pronouns, which is the things they actually legitimately identify by. You know? Highly recommended channel. Imagine not respecting someone's pronouns. Cringe. Cringe. It's so basic. It's so simple. Came out to your mum when you were 5. She told me everyone would just make fun of me and convince me life would be awful if anyone knew I was weird, so I repressed it forever, spent my whole life being afraid of being weird. And guess what? Everyone still thought I was weird because I was just a super guarded shell of a person, so over the last 6 months I've finally been coming out to the world and feel so much better being a real person. I know that vibe. Goodness. Oh, that's the strange thing, right? It's like I feel like as a result, personally, we're getting into these like end of stream deep conversations again, but I feel like personally, a lot of the reasons I was the weird kid at school and stuff like that was because I was repressing my genuine self. So I was looking for any avenue for people to look at me as though I was something other, right, than the identity that was assigned to me. You know, so that I was just like, don't associate me with any particular convention that you hold in your head. Look at me as a freak, right? Which is a weird thing to say about yourself. But I think for a good long while there, I knew I was strange. I just didn't have the words for it. And in a strange way, I kind of wanted to embrace this nature of being other. Of being something that wasn't what everybody expected of me. Does anyone else have that sensation? Do sexologists work at gender clinics? Because my last GF had to deal with horrible specialists at our previous clinics. That basically shamed her for being trans. That's awful. Kind of like Radiohead Creep. I've heard the lyrics to the song. I haven't heard the song. Should stress that both of these dudes literally wrote a book about transsexualism, and they say it is mandatory for us to read it. That's grim. They can't even do the basic of referring to us by our gender. Yeah, I wouldn't respect them or their scientific background, honestly. Hang on, I'm just trying to think. I don't know why I'm bothering trying to fix my eyelashes. My lashes, yeah, false lashes. See, here's the thing. I never really like cross-dressed or anything like that when I was younger. I just knew I was unusual for some reason. I had no real concept of what I was supposed to be, and that was only that was only encouraged by the way everyone else seemed to have this. Everyone else just seemed to settle in comfortably to the role assigned to them. Everyone was either a boy or a girl, and that was it. There was no, there was nothing beyond that. That was just how it was. And I looked at those kind of situations and I'm like, I don't understand all this. So there were expectations of me, like I got signed up for soccer when I was younger, and I was expected to learn how to play this game and chase the ball around, kick a goal or whatever. I couldn't grasp it. Like my brain just like, I'd taken the training, I knew what I was supposed to do, but the whole concept eluded me. I remember as a very young kid I had to sleep on my dad's couch because he didn't have room for me, and he would watch whatever he wanted on TV, and I distinctly remember him watching a documentary about a boy who was forced to live as a girl by his mum and how it affected him, and you think it impacted me. It may well have done. Boy, girl, I identify as hot. I mean, that's the vibe. You were so desperate as a kid you stole your neighbor's clothes. Oh, you went to football training only once. I mean, I only went to like 1 or 2 of these training sessions for soccer. My mother realized it wasn't for me and pulled me out of it, I think. I can't remember distinctly, but I think there were a few sessions maybe that I went to. But basically, I was in it for a very brief period, and my mum was like, okay, this kid's not getting this. Let's pull him out of it. You wore your siblings' clothes a couple of times. Which would be like, this is the thing, right? If we come back to the cross-dressing thing, if we associate that with it, which is an unfortunate comparison to make, but we have to draw that here, is there's going to be a number of people who effectively, when they are, if they are, say, someone who is an egg, and they're exploring their gender, and they're exploring what feels right for them, the idea of cross-dressing is appealing because it gives you that opportunity to explore those things. And unfortunately, what it results in is either you've got little boys and girls trying on their brothers and sisters' clothes, or you've got adults trying on their partner's clothes, or whatever it is. Which, because of the way society is constructed to look at what they deem a cross-dresser, that comes with a lot of shame on the part of the person cross-dressing, and comes with a lot of humiliation if you get caught. Right? Which would deter a lot of people from even daring to explore their gender. From even daring to explore these things on their own time, comfortably. Because we are encouraged that, you know, again, if a child is determined to be a boy or a girl in the womb, then parents immediately start drafting up plans to paint their boy's room blue and buy him little toy trucks and all this other shit, you know? Which is nonsense. It's ridiculous. You know, we gender everything from birth to lock a person into a role before they can even conceive of what that role means. Before they can even conceive of what society's expectations are of them. Those expectations are thrust upon them, and they are just expected to abide by them, even though it makes them incredibly uncomfortable. Now, we are in sort of a fortunate phase, socially speaking, at least in places like where I live, where people are more accepting of people who are transitioning or people who are exploring their gender. So it's a little bit different, you know, but still there is a lot of, what's the term I'm looking for? There's a lot of, it's late, I can't think. There's a lot of, basically, when you make someone into a pariah. What's the word I'm looking for? People are just generally, you know, looked at with a cocked eyebrow. If you were to see a man walking down the street wearing a dress, you're going to raise a brow and be like, what's up with that? Ostracism? Not quite. There's another word I'm thinking of. Like the idea, there's a lot of, I suppose ostracism works in this context. There's a lot of social skepticism. Well, freaks, yeah, I mean. But ostracism's not the concept I'm thinking of. You're in the right ballpark. But basically there is a social convention that, you know, if you, not ostriches. There is a, not scapegoating. There is a general socially conscious expectation that if you see someone who you would typically associate as a man dressed in women's clothing, you're going to think to yourself, that's a bit odd. You know, the concept, like, for a moment you're going to be like, hang on, what? And it's not like actively othering someone. It's not like actively ostracizing someone. There is just this thought that goes through a lot of people's minds that doesn't make sense. So it's like breaking the social mold, breaking the socially accepted convention of what gender is, right? Emu sighting, yeah, don't mention the emus. So it's not about othering. I suppose, you know, I use the term pariah, which is not really relevant. It's not about othering, it's not about ostracism, it's about social expectations, is the word I'm looking for. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'm getting distracted by terminology, as I often do. And supposedly pedophilic, or just like, yeah, or like sexualization or whatever. If you see someone who you would typically associate with masculinity, if you see someone who's like broad-shouldered and they've got facial hair and short hair and all these kind of things, and they're wearing a dress, people will look at that as some kind of sex fetish. Social expectations can bite my shiny metal ass. Yeah, that they can. You're on the bus once and a man walked by wearing a dress, might be an NB, and I thought, heck yeah. Then I realized everyone on the bus was looking in their direction, which is uncomfortable. You know, why can't people mind their business? Which otherwise would be ridiculous to assume these things. But everyone does, is the thing. It's like where we were talking with Laura Blake the other day on her show about how social expectations like the... what's it called? Oh my god, it's too late. I can't think. About how we all have our expectations of certain people, and unfortunately those can be informed by social prejudice. Right? So you might look at somebody and you might realize that you don't feel a certain racist way towards them. But in certain contexts you might look at a certain person who is different to yourself and have a momentary response that doesn't actually align with your ethical values, but because society conditions you to believe this type of person who is different to you might behave a certain way because media propaganda or whatever. What's funny is a woman can wear men's clothes and nothing is said, but if a guy does it, the first thing they ask is, are you gay? Yeah, pretty much. Which is, plus women safe, men dangerous, yeah. Which is the whole basis for the gender critical movement. Is it weird if I feel attracted to people who break those cishet norms, like you see a bunch of people in normal clothes? Then there's someone going about in a leather skirt with an undercut and piercings, and I'm like, oh, hello, different person. I get that. Sexuality is boys who are sort of girls and girls who are sort of boys. Anyway. That was the exact argument you said to your wife because she dresses super comfy a lot and is generally in more mask things, yeah. Like there's a lot of women I know who just get around in t-shirts and pants all the time. Like they're never wearing conventionally feminine clothing, you know. Anyway, sorry that I'm just sort of blah. I'm at the end here. Femboys and tomboys and NBs for me, please. I mean, didn't I? I swear I actually made that tweet once. Similar to what was said earlier, my sexuality is boys who are sort of girls and girls who are sort of boys. I'm pretty sure I tweeted verbatim at some stage, my sexuality is femboys and tomboys or something along those lines. Anyway, we have said numerous times we're going to raid Radhom this week, and now we're going to raid Radhom. So we're going to go do that. Because I'm tired and I can't string sentences together anymore. I'm sorry. Love a good pair of heels. I want to get some heels. I want to get some nice new Heely, not Heelys, but some nice new Heely boots. Or some new platforms would be nice.
You are too kind.
Thank you for gifting a sub to Inclining Prune. Ali, you legend, you. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. If you're not already, here's the socials again if you missed those for whatever reason. Still don't know what to post on most social media, but, you know, I'll keep it there anyway. Have a good night. You have a good night too, Cyber. We'll cover some more news tomorrow. We didn't really do a whole lot. We still haven't covered Jackie Lambie. We should have done that with regards to the vaccine discrimination bill or whatever it was. At any rate, thank you all for hanging out tonight. It has been lovely to see your faces. I adore each and every one of you. And I'll see you tomorrow if you do decide to be here. Also, expect a video up on Friday at 9 a.m. I'm going to try my best to get that one done. Be kind to yourselves and each other. I love your faces. And I'll see you when I'm looking at you.